It's time for change to move into the real work of the universe. And it's time to understand that we use the matter state to reach the level of understanding of the soul of the man. Now you understand maybe why the Creator has sent his messengers in the name of whatever you have had. Is that they bring the ears, that it can be used when the time of the Messiah comes. They can teach the soul and the message, not to oppose. But by them understanding through those who have become Messiahs, to give from their souls to these to elevate, the job is made easy. The school is there and the students are devotedly there. Then there won't be any fight between what they call the Muslims and the Christians. The lamb and the lion will eat and sleep in the same nest. The Christians and the Muslims will sleep and pray in the mosque and in the same church in the name of their souls, not in the name of religion that is used to create so much conflict for the benefit of those who were the hyperactive children. The time has come, the time of change is here. And as I said, my wish is my command. If it's your wish to see peace, the path of peace is laid very clearly. It's the soul of the collective awareness. By giving will create that position of change. No other thing. There is no pen in the soul of the man. And I'm sure once you go into the universal community, you will never see anything written but the balance of the fields of the soul of the existence. Try to be humble enough not to become arrogant in the power that you have understood and you possess. Otherwise, you'll fall in the same path of the church and the mosque. This is what we promised, and this is what we have delivered. We have to understand the operation of the soul, and we have to understand the soul of the man is a star in the cosmos of the universe. If we compare the soul of the man and many of us, 7 billion in one collection, Earth is like a galaxy with so many stars. When we look in the depth of the universe, we see galaxies with hundreds of millions of stars in it. So is the planet Earth. It carries 7 billion beautiful stars, which are the soul of the man. Carries with it soul of so many trillions of animals, plants, and everything else. So if you look, when someone who does not see the physicality of the earth and its content, what do they see? They see a galaxy with so many beautiful lights shining, each one according to their strength, each one according to their position. An infant has a beautiful soul, so has the old man. To those who do not see the physical dimension of this planet, but they see the strength of the field, we are clusters of stars. The human race, every single soul, no one from a distance sees, that's the soul of a fisherman, that's the soul of the cosmologist, that's the soul of the president. They all shine irrespective of the physicality. This is the magic. This is what the new science has to bring to man. When we look through our soul, we see nothing but we star in the other souls. And this is the break. This is the understanding. This is what all these teachings are about. Coming to mature to the next level, to understand in the deep space, the universe is the oyster for those souls who serve. Then man is ready to go into space. Then man is ready to become part of the universal community which has been promised. I never promised you heaven. I always promised you the elevation of the man to join the family. And now you have the key. It's you who has to open the door to understand, if I can raise the soul of these people or millions of other souls, that the physical life on this planet changes, then I'm worthy to be part of the universal community. To be there to serve, to expand. To be there, to be part, that in the cycle of life of universe, I become, in being part, I become part of the totality. When man reaches that point, a new dimension in the strength of the soul of the man will appear, which is beyond imagination of understanding of the physical life. It's the gate to the opening of the new life, in a new dimension, which is beyond imagination of what you might call a new beginning, a new cycle. Which that cycle carries with itself the origin of the creation of life in the universe and in the universe. It's the elevation of the soul to serve become the key, not a throne of the physical life. The time is right. The time has come for the man to go through this process.
Welcome everyone to the 216th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, March 22nd, 2018. And once again, we will be honored to have Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation and perhaps Caroline and other knowledge seekers as the workshop goes on today. And we're very thankful for that excellent video that was just shown from the Universal Council, especially thankful to Flint for the long, hard hours of work that have gone into the production of that. And it's a very beautiful and moving video, I find. So let's get on with the workshop here. I think Mr. Keshe is ready to go. Are you indeed ready there, Mr. Keshe?
Yes, good morning to you, good day to you, wherever and whenever you listen to these knowledge seekers series of teachings. First of all, I should thank Rick and Flint and Caroline, and especially Flint and Rick, who spent hours and hours to put this video together for the Universal Council. It's not the same as the first one, it's been adjusted. And it's been, if you listen to the words, they have.
Mr. Keshe? I'm just having a hard time hearing. Can you adjust your mic, please?
Yes, can you hear me better now? Hello? Is it better?
Pretty, I think it's better now. It's good. Try again.
Yeah, try again, please.
Okay, let me see. Select microphone is not just yes. It is correct. Yes, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I can hear you better now.
Thank
Okay,
you.
it's been reset. Thank you very much. As I said, a lot of time was spent to get this video done, and especially the words to the pictures. This sentence to the picture, and it means a lot. It has some meanings to it, and if you listen to it again, and you will see. Today's teaching is more or less recovering and going through a lot of things we've done in the past and adding to the knowledge. One of the first things we have to say is, we say Happy New Year to all the Iranians across the world. On Wednesday morning, or Wednesday, yesterday was the beginning of the spring. And as you
Excuse me, Mr. Keshe, we're still having trouble with the audio. It seems to be fading in the background. Maybe adjust the microphone, or is there something else that... Oh, that's louder.
Is it better? Okay.
Way, way better. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I had to replug it again.
Okay, good.
The Wednesday, yesterday, 21st of March, was the Iranian New Year, and it's more or less celebration across what we call Silk Road. It's the beginning of spring, a new year, new generation, new life cycle in the Northern Hemisphere, and we congratulate and say Happy Nowruz to all the Iranians. Eid Hamesh Mubarak. We celebrated it in change of the time with those who were on the Tuesday meeting of the Knowledge Seekers for the Universal Council, as we went through the time of the change of seasons, as we call it. I hope this will be a good time, good change, and brings a lot of new dimensions to all the teachings and all of us as knowledge seekers. We passed nearly 3 New Years in past 3 months, one of the Christians, last month of the Chinese, and this month of the Iranians and the rest of the Eastern Central Asia. It always happens the same time, and this year we have to celebrate a lot more, which we have, and we can enjoy altogether a new change. There is a lot happening, there's a lot in progress, and as we said the announcements, as you heard last week, we released the coin. We thank those who are participating in accepting coins as part of the exchange within the Keshe Foundation organization, which as we develop to become one nation, becomes the current currency for world use. This is what you should have realized by last week's teachings. If you have the video of the coin, if you can show it again, please, Rick, in the background. The whole purpose of releasing the coin was to show the beginning of a new structure. Somebody's microphone is open, please. The beginning of a new structure, the beginning of what we set out to do, and it becomes one central bank and one central order. And in so many ways, the present one coin, what we call the Keshe coin, will be only in the hand of the Keshe Foundation supporters and within the structure of the Keshe Foundation. And we do not allow it to expand into outside. We have our own reasons, because in due course it will become part of the international coin exchange. We see the reason, as we've seen, BRICS have not managed to solidify after years of work to bring the coin out. We have seen euro currency, which is literally falling to pieces for those who understand what is going on in the background, and we've seen dollars being very unstable. We see one of the future changes in the whole structure is that China will go alone on its own currency and become the commodity, or what we call the currency of the world. This is, as we see, as part of what is happening in China and what we see in the present leadership of China. They've been waiting for BRIC to take shape, but as we know, the possibility of BRICS taking shape is very difficult. One of the major partners in the BRIC is India. India in reality is not free, it still is part of British colony. And to get this moving, it'll be very difficult. And this is one of the reasons people see BRIC has been promised, but it cannot take shape. And the simple reason for it is British sit behind India. Indian government cannot make any concrete decisions without okay, literally, to London. And this is one of the weaknesses in the whole structure. Major weakness in this structure, where China on its own can nominate and dictate a new currency and has the power to do it. And what we see in the present closure of the Central Committee and the meeting of the 19th Committee in the past 2 weeks, which finished yesterday, China is heading for a supreme power organization in the world. His own currency, his own work, and it has with the new that Chinese RMB will become a major power play in the world currency. China will roll out. The structure is maybe 3 to 5 years, will take over most probably beyond what dollar can do and euro can. We've seen division in euro, it will split in a very ways, and we've seen how euro exit is confirming the extension of it. The establishment of one coin, the cash coin or a peace coin, is to be there when is China going for single currency. This is part of what we see and part of the establishment of the coin in this level, that we established this market already to be that if the governments of the world cannot agree for China to be this alternative accepted currency, which is the one coin, will take over. This is a long term, this is not a short term plan, and the value of these coins go beyond imagination. It needs the work of a nation, one nation, which is the Keshe Foundation. We cross the borders. There is no borders. And in that process, now you understand the whole bigger picture. Having internal banking system without nation is what we are looking for. And this will be modified and more or less corrected completely in the coming time. As China becomes single currency backing with the reserves, and it dictates a common currency that all can accept. It's never been launched, now it's on the table. It'll be a currency where the dollars, the euro market, and the Chinese, and most probably a number of major powers will accept to collaborate and work and accept, because as a one nation, we have such a structure. The Keshe Foundation banking system will become a national central bank organization, which means nobody needs to transfer or change anything. They just work through it at the same value. This is an insight which we see, which is needed as part of what we see. The work has started in a very deep way by the Chinese government. What I call the insight, and the wisdom of His Excellency President Xi has shown the way, and it will carry through. The One Belt, One Road map of China has such a strong influence of change that will force one nation policy. Read about it. It's the first time ever when you can you just freeze the picture, please? This is the Chinese version of the coin. Go ahead, please. Carry on, let it run. You see the Chinese version of the coin?
I'll leave the volume off, Mr. Keshe. Is that okay? Is that the best way for them? Okay.
Please. You see the Chinese version of the same translation. It's within the Keshe Foundation. It will not touch the open market because the open market will merge into it. What I explained, if you see when the Europeans colonized the world, They took everything from every nation they could. But if you look at the plans of one nation, one belt, it's the first time ever one nation is investing in the other nation to rise to equal to them. This is exactly what we do in plasma technology. The stronger field gives to the other fields to raise it to above to itself, to be equal. And this is the beauty of the wisdom of a president. This is what you have to understand. Look what is the plan of one planet, one nation, one planet, one race, one belt, one road. President Xi has set out to bring what has been taken away from most of the nations, especially in the third world nation we call, to give back to them. Dignity, integrity, and a lot of wisdom. In the West, they do not let you know about what this plan is. But if you're in China and you understand the process, as we have been, it's very simple. Decolonization, bringing all the nations back to one power. And only a nation can do it which has the financial backing and the strength to do it, and China is the only country. If you look what is done through one belt, one road, China is giving free satellites operation to most of the African nations, investing heavily in Africa and across the oceans and Silk Road to bring all the nations up. There's a lot of wisdom into it. The time has come that we become one nation, and Chinese government is carrying it out by act, not by talk. Some number of nations have already become part of one Belt One Road in Africa, in Central Asia and South Asia. And this is a long-term plan to give back into rest of the world what has been taken by most of the European nations by colonization. And this is what you will see, why the currency will become Chinese. Chinese currency will become one of the most stable currencies and will be accepted on its own without break. And then you understand the only way that we can bring the Chinese currency, the euro and the dollar, to agree to work on the one is a currency which is already established on the one coin, as we call the cash coin. Now you understand where we come from. One nation, one race, one planet, one belt, one road, and that is the road to peace. The whole wisdom is to put back into humanity that by having what we call a weaker nation, the rest will suffer. This way, with this one nation, one belt, there is no suffering. It's evolution, development, and expansion and equality. So you understand why we launched the one coin, and as it is, and it doesn't carry any nation or any other things on it but the face of the man, and as one nation. We could not explain this last week, but we are very much proud in what we are doing, and those of you who buy and order this coin, you understand now what you're getting involved with. The value of the one coin is not just on its face at 1,000 euro. The value of this coin is peace, and that's what it counts. We see it. It's taken me some 20 years to plan this out, and now it's on the face of it. It will take us time for everything to be in position for us to be able to deliver peace according to the wish of mankind. Doesn't carry no one on the face of the man, the body of the man, and his commitment to peace and opening of space. In so many ways, now we can start taking steps. Now the most of the structure of the what we call one nation is in position. The administration, the registration part, the executive part in the shape of Earth Council, the what we call the coin, the currency of the change which is equal across this planet, and then the banking and the sales of goods which goes through the catalog, which brings a common structure to all the planet in so many ways, what we see now, we have so many regulatory conditions, which is CE standard, American standard, Chinese standard. Through this catalog process, we get away with that as one standard, correct for all of us, that when the product is in the catalog, is safe for all of us. We accept one standard. When we accept one standard, this situation of having different legislation goes through the window. We try to give the wisdom and standardization to man to be trusted and to be trusting. There'll be some abuse, as usual with everything else, but as part of creating one market, one nation, one standardization, we can freeze it down. That's perfect. Thank you very much. And in that process, we need to understand that the Keshe Foundation works in one direction only: peace, working with the nations which are peaceful. And we have seen our progress. To a lot of people, this is going to take a long time. Even if we manage it in 5 to 10 years, it's nothing compared to thousands of years we've been fighting each other and killing each other and destroying each other and robbing each other's bank and livelihood and the rest of it. As used to be, as I explained to one of my children recently, people used to go to war. We were on the wall of China, where you see the Great Wall of China with my sons. And I explained to them, people used to go to war to take gold or whatever, and women. We have matured now enough that we don't fight to take women anymore, because we found out we are equal. And now we still fight for gold. And with this system, we take that initiative, that part of encouraging, out of the equation. We matured enough that women are not worth stealing, because they're worth more than what we think. And now we find out money worth not having, but we work towards it. The value of 1,000 euro put at such a high level is that it brings equality in all nations, that 1,000, one coin becomes a key for every man to be able to live across this planet. I explained last week. We passed through a massive border, and that was a border of understanding how wrong we have behaved towards each other and how right we want to be part of it. The whole apparatus is very perfectly set up, perfectly delivered, and now we understand what is the next step. If you can make translation of the video in your own languages and your own writing, in Arabic and others, in the next sessions we'll add to it, because everyone has to understand the change which is coming. Same as what we've done with Universal Council and the Earth Council readings, that everybody understands what is on the horizon. It is important for most of us to understand that one thing is different this time with these changes. It's not coming from up, but it's coming from down up, which means people are deciding, people are structuring it, and because of their sufferings and what we've done, we understand we can bring the change, but this time we make the change. We don't have world leaders to decide for us, we are deciding the change. We are planning the change, and we have executed the change. If you remember some months ago, when we went through massive change of appointing the Universal Councils and committing every language, every nation to peace, that still stands. Go through the pattern and see which nation is still under fostering of one of the members of the Earth Councils, that we can sign over to your nation. When we sign the totality, then we are totally free as one nation, as one language. And these are the things which takes time. If you would have told you this a year ago, it was not acceptable, it was not, could not be imagined. So with the structure we done, with structure which is set out, we plan for peace. Planning for peace needs clear understanding of the weaknesses in all structures, not to be proud and arrogant of the strength. The strength we keep. What is weak that can be abused, we strengthen. That there is no weakness. Now we have established what we call as a catalog, but in fact is a new position that if a product comes in, we do not need to go and certify, but we certify through our souls that we don't do anything wrong to harm another. The word of the man, the soul of the man stands for it. And in time, in progress, we will do that. You sign to it that you accept responsibility for products you do. If you do not do, you do not know, you ask it to be checked and be confirmed. European market works in this way. Nowadays, the CE certification has become so cumbersome that the governments do not want to get involved with. So nowadays it's become self-regulatory. If you want, I was talking to our team even last night. You want to sell a product, if you can submit it and tell it what it does, and they look at it, within 24 hours, they give you a number that yes, you accept responsibility, it looks good, we don't need to go through rigorous certification. You stand responsible for. We take the same kind of ethos into the Keshe Foundation. When you put something in catalog, you stand responsible for what you put in. What I call the rogue trade of putting something to sell, we will stop and we will learn, all of us. We still can make mistakes. But even if it's a mistake, it's done with a good wish and goodwill, it'll be corrected and there'll be no mistake. This is important. Now you understand. We cannot go and certify in every nation and then jump back and forth. There'll be parameters put. It's for you to check the parameters are met. You tick all the boxes, and if it's done, you put your product out. We'll put on the catalog a certification confirmation. What does it do? Have you tested it? What is the outcome? Or you think you might do. You like some other people to test. We put items on the catalog. It's here for testing, for confirmation, peer review, check quality, what it does. There will be no guinea pig. There's one big advantage with this technology that you will understand. That is, cannot harm. All these things put up is what people have put up that they harm the man. Because you work through the GANS plasma, you cannot harm. We don't let you put plants in, but the GANS of the plant has different effect. Still delivers if it's needed, but if it's not, there is no balance for it. This is the difference. Any of you, I was explaining to one of our colleagues who's heading the Chinese Keshe Foundation very recently. I said to her very simply, and that is, all the maglev systems worked. All the maglev system works. It's for you to find out where and how you deliver the energy. Anything with a plasma delivers. There is no one who can say, I produced a maglev system and it doesn't work. As I said, we sold thousands, very few comparisons come back. And that's mainly by default of not following the instructions. Very few fails, and that's normal for mass production. But if you understood and knew what you're doing, you should have seen that you should have received reductions in different measures according to the system which is set in your country. You look at the maglev system you have. You plugged it in. The plugging has a very, very strange apparatus with it, and that is that the system has two validity, 2 points, and that is, I've discussed this before. You plug your fridge into the one end of the system, but that system, you come home, your fridge works, but you say, I only got 20%, I see very little reduction. But look at how you have actually managed to connect this thing. How did you connect it? What did you do in connection? You have to understand the way you have connected it. The system is simple. I'm going to share a screen with you because these are the things as we are delivering for a lot of us to understand. I explained this before and it's essential that we go back on it. You have most of the homes in the world has two operational systems. The government delivers electricity to you. In your box, usually you divide it in two. But here, outside the box, government brings normally three phase. You take out on one phase into the supply. Maybe your next door neighbor is connected to the other phase and your other neighbors to the other phase. Or all the neighbors connected on one phase in one road. But when it comes to your house, you have two ways. In the house, in the box, you go into what we call load, or you go into the light. You have delivered your system, your maglev system, into the load side, because the fridge is a load. But fridge comes on very, very rarely. In a way, if you compare it, if you understand it, what you call your fridge comes on maybe half an hour for a few minutes every now and then you understand that this fridge, this time, creates enough time to trigger the cycle of the hertz in the system. And what it does, it goes around the house and only loads onto your load side. Your light side is not connected. Your light side, if in the country there is a, which is most of the third world nations, many of them are connected this way, you connect in the back of your thing system into the grid, and so what you see is connection between the light and the load, which then here, if you're not connected, which is most of the European nations, your 20-30% of your consumption mainly is your electric supply, but the other 70% is your lighting. If you can connect a second system, maglev system, to your lighting, you will see around 95 to 100% reduction. Because now you cover both. Most of you connect to one cycle. You say, I only get 30, 40, maybe 50%. And if you use your maglev system in the winter time, which is a load resistance and is not, in a way, comes into operation so easily because of the heat dissipation, we don't get the nano coating of the material because it already always works on the element of heating bars, or in that condition, you increase your supply demand on the load side, but you don't see any reduction. Your bill goes up and you say, I get 5 or 10%, very, very meager, because the resistive load does not come in. The new system you're developing is that we nano coat the resistive loads, that the heating is slightly different, but allows you the maximum saving. This is the development in the technology which is in progress somewhere in the background of the Keshe Foundation. So if you can connect two systems, one through your lighting and one through your load, then you see a spring, summertime, and autumn time, if you don't have a resistive load, you are 90%, 100%. And this is what we see in Africa. In Africa, why the plasma power units are so strongly powerful and they show such reduction? Because resistive load is not existing as such. If you look into air conditioning system and the rest, we use a different way of producing heat, and then in that process we get a higher reduction. So even if we talk about maglev system, is you have not understood the process. Maglev system have another additional factor which sits in this box, or it sits on the interface with the government with a house, which that interface in some of the countries allows you, instead of going through your meter, due the way they set up, with the smart electricity board, you read last year's comparison to this year. But your this year amount is registered. So the next year when you come to get it, it reads the last year. So this year you were 100 watt. This year you used 10 watt. The system still registered 100 because there could be something wrong. We don't want to get it right. And then the next year, compared to this, you see a massive fall in your meterage. The smart meters create this condition. They are set up to do. The same thing is what we see a lot of you use the maglev technology for the cars. In your car, you put a maglev system and you said, it's not that efficient, I don't see anything. You have to understand, most of the cars today are computer controlled. Anything from 2008 onwards, which is past 10 years, 2010 especially onwards, they have a microchip built in, which does not allow any fuel reduction over 20 to 25%. This allows for future development if companies become and produce fuels that become more efficient, that they can use it themselves, because the oil companies own most of the car manufacturing shareholdings. So it's to their benefit. So in your car, if it's a young car, you will not see more than 20%, because anything over 20%, again the same chip as in your electricity meter is placed, it dumps fuel into your exhaust, into more or less into your cylinder, or back in a way that allows to keep at the kilometer which is fit in for this car. So you see a much better performance with your car, but you don't see that much fuel reduction, because in fact, if you bypass, get this chip which is put in the circuitry of the fuel consumption of the car, you'll find out you go down to 50–80%. But this cannot be done. The governments don't want to change this because they earn a lot of money out of it, taxation, to do a lot of other things. So the maglev system, being out for 2 or 3 years, we see clearly do work. But as I said, we do not bring the maglev systems or the plasma power unit for the purpose of electricity or the car. It comes from it, plasma power unit. What does this mean? A lot of you followed it but never understood it. And as I said, as we are entering in the phase of space technology, plasma power unit, it says itself. To be able to travel the depth of the space, we need to create a condition. Matter state does not answer our need. Matter state does not create a condition of lift and motion in the matter level, or what we call inertia, strength field of the matter of the planet. The only way any of you, any of the research centers will ever be able to achieve lift, motion and full control in next coming time is to understand the work of the plasma units and the maglev units, not as an electron flow, but as a plasma flow. This is the key. This is what a lot of you have not understood. You are converting the plasma flow to its meager power at the end of it to create electron vibration, but none of you is pushing with it to go into the level of using the plasma as a flow, as a plasma flow level difference, what we call voltage or a potential difference in respect to two positions of the plasmas, which one sits on the top and 3 on the bottom, to create a condition of lift and physical characteristic creation of the matter state out of the field. I cannot be any more clearer than this. You have always looked into the matter state. We always called it plasma unit, PPUs, plasma generators. and you're all looking, how can I have a generator? We are not interested in the current power production unit. You will still looking for crumbs. You're missing the cake. Understand and step up to the new understanding. Because now that you have created a plasma condition, look what you've done with plasma. You use the effect of it in water, you eradicate cancer. You use it in vegetation, you grow more. You use it by nano coating and then gas coating your coils, you increase the power production for your matter state. So what you have all missed altogether and you have not seen, we have to change to the condition to the use of the plasma and not conversion of the plasma to electrical charges. Electrical electron vibration is one of the most end of the line before death of emotion of energy to the below matter state. As I said, you have a gold in your hand. Those of you who appreciate gold and it's something precious to you, and you're happy with the dust of it, dust of the earth that you hope will become gold. Start understanding what the teaching is about, because now we can change the phase. Now we can step up to the next step. It is your understanding that has blocked you in the space travel, in the space dimension. So if you go back into the whole process of understanding the work of the plasma, you come across a very simple way. Any of you who understood the work of the Keshe Foundation from the beginning should have by now would have made enough energy, plasma flow, plasma current that could lead to creation of any matter. Remember, the sun radiates, earth opposes, part of it reflects back towards the sun, part of it splashes beyond the sun, and part of it gets through because of the gravitational pull of the matching strength and becomes gold, oxygen, hydrogen, and whatever on this planet. Now, for those of you who understood this, I have given you 3 stars which continuously work together, and they bring in and they radiate. And then something which you have not understood, and it has to be understood especially with the space people in the top who are doing this space lab test. I sent you a message in past few days to all of you who are in the space development. Go back and understand the structure of the waterfall, the water jet. You have a water jet, you have a hose, and you create a massive flow. The water falls as far as it can. But if you manage to put a front to it, what does the water do? Splashes back. And then if you stand underneath of it, become part of it. So if you understood this, very simply, when you have these fields, all you need to do to block, to add a field reflector stronger than what it comes, you will get your spaceship. Slowing down has to be continuous enough that the structure of the physicality can hold. And anything which falls out below will be attracted at the higher strength to reach back up. Any of the Keshe Foundation team who are working on a space level, the governmental structures who are working on the spaceship development should have seen by now the final answer is on the table. Unless you want me to spoon feed you. The reason we are going with this very fast is, as I said, those of you who understood this, very simply can do this. This is your car. look at what we call flying cars. Look how you can collectively move without any fuel. Understand the dimension of the work. You don't need to be up on the top. You have four wheels. If you look on the structure from underneath, with four, you allow shape dimension. Now, you want a hexagonal shape to be moved. Shape has to be no more problem for any of you. But when you turn this upside down, this plate, when you look at it, sits like this for the car. You put in shock absorbers and you put it in your central column dashboard, just where you put your armrest. Voila. You control the car height. When we showed this for the first time to the Belgian authorities on the 25th of November 2011, they asked me, do you have a license to fly? I said no. He said the States, which is opposite to every understanding of the man, unless you are deceivingly deceitful. And that's the nation of this, that's the nature of these people. If you are, says, show me how have you done this? I've come to stop, doesn't matter what you show me. That's why we could not show it on 26th of November 2011 in Eindhoven. And on 3rd of December, we showed the power it with the 4th of December with the American planes. The knowledge has been in front of you for 10 years. I've taught you everything. It's for you to become wise to the knowledge. Many of you, now you see they are trying to bring, as we were discussing with Rick yesterday, these cars, the flying cars with the air conditioning flowing and then air pumps, so that they say, look at the Keshe Foundation. In the coming time, when we can open our archives, we show you the car which was made in 2008 to fly. It was supposed to fly directly on the platform in Eindhoven exhibition. You got to realize, you got to understand that we all have the knowledge. It's just that we do not put it into working condition because we do not see it. At the same time, if you go back and look what we showed you in Rome, and then in one of the teachings before, and you saw it in what I call a Marco system, if you look at it, with the reactors, we had with 3 reactors positioned in the bottom, 1 on top, we done the same thing. But this time, instead of having a square shape, we spread the numbers so much that it gives you a circular portion. It gives you the spaceship. At the same time, the triangle between this and the one outer one, it allows you to create any material you like. Man in the space will not need anything to carry anymore if they understand. I turned this upside down, what did you have? You have a shape there, you have a ring there, you have 3 reactors down here, and you have a ring. You float everything up, you collect it correctly, the shape of your spaceship is complete. This was shown in the last Rome conference. You saw it. Armand put it on the table. We show the solid state of it 12 months before, 2 years before, in Trani, when Marco showed the system on the table. The knowledge is complete. You don't need any of you who understood this can fly any objects in any shape, but not in the space, because cutting corners is very difficult. But on the surface of the earth, your car has got 4 corners, and you're sitting in it. All you need to put it just where you put your hands, and now you understand why we stopped. They stopped us producing cars in Antwerp by those who did not want to change the status quo. Because when we show you the original car, the videos of it somewhere in the archive, it's a green Mercedes. One day when you see it, he told us this was Caroline's car. We didn't need it. We got the engine moved out, we got the central column moved out, we got the fuel tank moved out because there was no need for it, and everything, the engine went. For the guy who took the engine out, he says, I'll do it free for you, I'll give you the car back. He said, you can take the engine. We took the center column, the gearbox and everything were in the boot of the car. When they came to see the car, it says, this car is going to fly. When I opened the bonnet, there was nothing, is empty. Because you don't need, you can make more suitcase space than anything else. All you need to do to have your systems. Understand the ratio of the flow. Always remember, the ratio of flow is very important. CH3, copper, zinc. CO2 is a gas. This is a solid state matter. More on the entity of the creation of matter. What you need to do, forget weaker, stronger, weaker, stronger, and at the same time, weaker, stronger. You decide with what speed you want to transmute. In the deeper space, you cannot have propulsion that you can change the speed. As we see now, as I always said, there's a big difference between the present system and old system. The present system works like this. When the plane goes through, you see the chemtrails. In the new system, you create a vacuum that you always walk in the free space of magnetic field. Many of you, when you say, I've seen a spaceship, I've seen a UFO, look into it. What do you see? If it's a meteorite, it burns from the front. If it's a spaceship or a UFO, it sits in the back. This is the matter state, this is the space technology. You have a full shielding, allows you to move in the free space of it and to what speed you want to do. When you're traveling in a far distance of universe from here, you create a zone millions of kilometers ahead of you. Because you go with such a speed that you're always on the trace of it. One of the first things you see when they tell you there is some UFOs or whatever you see, look at the cloud they create in front of them. Because they have to convert this sharpness to spread out and become part of. You're reducing the strength of a higher order to slower to come interaction with the field in the center. The space technology is complete. It's the man who's got to understand it. And it's been complete since 2008. It's been complete in 2005. Any of you who understood this can fly tonight. Most of you have a huge problem with the systems you have built, and that is you're using GANs. And the GANs has a water which is a matter state, and it locks you with the dimensions of the inertia of the gases of this planet, and you're trying to fly in gases. Hydrogen and oxygen. You have to find a different way that in that process the plasma dictates, not the plasma of the liquid. This is why most of you cannot fly. In The coming time we have set, and I have said deliberately, the factories that produce ganses in a condition of the plasma free flow, that man can fly. Most of the Keshe Foundation factories which are getting set up are set up to serve two ways, as I've said before: space technology and the man's need. But to be able to use it for a space technology, you have to think out of the framework of the matter state by looking to the magnetic flow plasma condition. As I said, I'm a master of disguise. This understanding has been passed to one of the key men in Keshe Foundation. He knows what to do. You will not be able to travel beyond the space of this planet. Even with that you have problems. That's why most of your system don't fly, because you carry inside your system liquid gas. You have not moved into the plasma. Go back to the understanding of what I explained even 10 minutes ago. Look at the power of PPUs. Look at the power of your maglev system. In it you find salvation. In it you find the understanding of flight. You need to be able to replace the matter states with a field within your reactors, otherwise you'll never take off. You're locked in with matter state to the inertia of this planet. You're locked in with the water within your systems, with the gases of the two gases of this planet. Where are you? Where do you think you can go to? You have nothing to exchange with. You had enough practice, you have tested it, you have done everything you can. Now, what is left for you to remember one thing? You have a fountain of energy, which all you need to know how to block it. And when you block it, let it take shape. As it reduces in the speed, in different strengths, will create you the shape of your UFO. But to keep on continually producing this shape, you need to scavenge whatever comes out which you don't have, plus what might the universe give you, plus what you have stored in your system, that if you're in the low level fields, you don't use boundary, you feed yourself. The process of propulsion is completely dead. The understanding of the deep space travel has to be on the essence of understanding gravitational magnetic field, positioning, motion, mixing, and strength. None of you have stood still to see how and why and the reason. Go back into the teaching many, many times. I explained to you. I've, in a way, even in the discussion of a few weeks ago, when we reached 129 Tesla, in a very clear way I explained it, how you get to it, and if you block it, you achieve lift, you achieve motion, you achieve so much that you don't have any need for anything. You can stand in the wind flow of the plasma, get fed according to what you want to see, enlightened, create motion, and everything else. The process of the space technology is complete. And now that we have put the structure of the physicality with the banking and the governing and everything else in position, by the time you will see the first flights, the borders will not count. If you can fly, from Beijing to Washington was the use of wall of China. At this moment, the wall of understanding, the wall of comprehension of technology is worse than wall of China for those who cannot cross over it. The Great Wall is in the mind of the man, and he has to be able to overcome it. I saw a beautiful picture and I literally was laughing my head off. And I said, when do these guys learn? We put the wall around Berlin, we had to take it down. We made castles, and now that we can fly are useless. We managed to bridge them. Once we crossed from arrow to cannons, they became useless. Once we built the plane and we could fly, all these walls became useless. And now we see one of the worst conditions in the world. They're trying to put a wall across Mexico and United States, where in a few weeks time, you can put as many walls as you like. You're jumping it over, but instead of just going to California, you're coming to Washington. Going through the wall takes 2 days to find a way dig under. I can be in Washington from Mexico City in 2 seconds. Why should I bother? 5 minutes landing. Our leaders have to change, and those who advise them have to understand the game is over. There is no need for these imaginary borders, because, as I said, we have set the structure. Governing through peace, governing through understanding, is not a dream, because now we have the technology, we can do it, and all of you can achieve it. That's why we set up the factories. If you understand why we are setting up so many factories, agreement is 1,000 units across this planet, and they want to do it simultaneously. Those who are involved, at least 50 at a time simultaneously. It's in a matter of few months. 2, 3, 4 years is not a dream. Everything for it is ready to flow. Keshe Foundation management team, everybody else has done all the work. We are not warning governments, we are warning humanity that the changes are there for all of us to enjoy. Connect the maggrav units, your plasma units, to your star formation, not with the current, but through understanding of flow of the plasma. Tonight, those of you who have the system should be able to see spaceship flight. The process is complete, and every structure for governing one nation is in position. Now we can push with the technology for a space, which means, first of all, we have to become like amateurs, like the first flight of the 2 brothers, with a little vision and hope. A few of us will land in the water, a few of us will land somewhere else, a few of us will go out of this planet, and we never know there was somebody here, we don't know what happened to him, he disappeared yesterday. Sorry, he charged his reactor the wrong way and he ended up in planet Zeus. He's there, he's not dead, but you won't see him back on Earth. The process is complete. Listen to this teaching of today very carefully. There shouldn't be any of you who have a PPU or a maggrav system and a star formation who cannot fly. You should be able to show us the shape of at least a light system. Understand how it works. Understand the process. Understand that the wires and the motors are useless. Too slow. Understand how you need to create a wind flow that the wind flow hitting your top reactor in breaking open, like exactly as I said, a fountain, a jet, and you put your hand in front of it, what does it do? It cascades. The cascade now, because it's magnetic field and you have reactors which can collect it, will follow. Perpetual rotation, enough fields. Very little loss. Containment in a silver condition color on this planet. Man is ready. Man is on the time to fly, and when flying it, will start seeing new things. Our forefathers looked into the sky and saw the clouds. Now we fly through it. And we see they are nothing but just the illusion. So now it's the same process. Once we go through the cloud of what we call barriers of the field, the space is open. Man is ready to go. And when we open the door, there is no nation. But we should be able to exchange what we need. I don't carry any dollars, sorry, you go hungry. I carry a coin. It says, I can pay. Guaranteed by Keshe Foundation. Guaranteed by my nation, which is one planet, one nation, one race. A lot of you still wait to see what happens with the coin. Shall I buy it? Shall I not buy it? Shall I get it? It doesn't make any difference. The time will come very soon you wish I did. I have a structured system that it will not fail. It's impossible for it to fail, because the only way it's going to fail is when the man fails himself. Try to understand the technology in a true sense of it, and I've said that many, many times. Any questions?
Good morning, Mr. Keshe.
Good morning, Azhar. عید شما مبارک.
عید شما مبارک. Merci. Thank you. Mr. Keshe, one thing about comment about last week teaching, I think I'm still in the second grade and you were teaching PhD level, which went over.
We all understand the same. You want to be in the second grade is your problem. You already have your PhD.
Okay, Mr. Keshe. Anyway, my question is this. You see, as a human, we live on planet Earth, so we're dealing with the atmosphere. And then above, which is the oxygen, and we don't see the oxygen. Above it, we have the troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, and ionosphere. So entities who are above with the UFOs, they live above the ionosphere. It means they see the air, which we don't see. But if you look at the fish doesn't see the water, the same way we don't fish the oxygen. So entities who live inside the ground, they don't see the dirt, but live in it. But we live in oxygen, we see the water, and we see the earth. The fish dies on if you take the fish out of the water, the fish dies on a dirt, because the fish sees the dirt, but doesn't see the water. So as human, if we fall into the water or the dirt, we die also. So in order to get to the plasma or get all of these atmosphere, we have to start to see the oxygen. If we can see the oxygen, then we can become more.
You already seen the oxygen. You call it CO2. Why do you call it CO2 then?
So how can we go? How can we think about? How can we become more like?
Sergeant, let me. You're a doctor and I'm a layman. I'm going to show you, teach you maybe nothing, but if you understand, it's very simple. You have gases in your reactors. Yeah? These are energies. Massive amount of energy. If you can feed them the right way, two things can happen. Those who receive energy try to position themselves. You create an emotion. And in creating the emotion, what energy is released is according to what the atmosphere can take. But this is a higher order. If you release the energy of hydrogen, you might get it there. But if you release the energy of the gold, in comparison to the gold which is in the air, you might get it here. Understand that we do not create anymore matter state. We create energy of the balance of the matter. It's a very big difference. And what we do when you create this cascade, you need to create energy which has all of it. And a lot of you tested a lot of combination of loading, but the only thing you haven't done is very much, I was talking to my son a couple of weeks ago. He went to Iran and he went for the Christmas, and he came back and he said, you know, there's a very strange houses in Iran. I said, what did you see? He said, they create ice in the summer. What they do, they flow the air in different ways, and it gets cool enough that in the summer they create cold condition and they can freeze the water, and the water is very chilly. He went to Kashan to see the marvels of Iran's science past centuries. What puzzled me, I said, my students don't understand what the Iranians done thousands of years ago. You create a flow, and going up at a higher speed, that you create the heat to go, change the heat to the strength of the fields in pushing it up. Is there any difference between your Iranian, between the funnel of the energy and the process of magravs? Excuse me 1 second, please. So the process is very, very simple. It's no different. We bring the high temperature, cold temperature. We bring high speed of flux of the plasma, of the field flow. This is what is, and we cannot change it. All we need to understand is inside our system, we have everything. Inside the gas, we have a spectrum of this planet can do. If we can convert the energy inside these gases with the amount of field we give in, to convert them to the total plasma, not in the gases, that by the free state of fields, you have your reactor flying. Because now the condition of the gas is gone. Now it's total plasma. And PPUs and plasma Magrav systems are the only key to it. The problem with all of you has been, you look at the coils and how you connected it. You missed the biggest point, my darlings. Each coil has a hole. How else can I teach you? Iranians done it millions of years ago, thousands of years ago in the desert of Kashan. Look back on the introductory Universal Council tape you put in. I put that picture deliberately for man to understand maybe. Rick, can you play the Universal Council tape, which you just did, please?
Yes, I'll get Flint.
Yeah, I'll have that here.
Thanks, Flint.
I stop sharing. I chose this, that one day I teach you where Universal Council is taking you. Understand it. Comprehend the reason for it. I was there when Rick and Carmine and Flint, not the coin, were choosing the pictures, and I put a few pictures. I said I want these to be here. Can you go frame by
Shall we
frame?
just play it from the beginning, Mr. Keshe?
Yes, please. We can stop it and go back.
And do you want the sound up or not?
Yes, we can leave the
Okay.
sound up. We can always speak over it if it's low enough. It's time for change to move into the
Can you stop,
real.
please?
Stop here. Look at this structure. You have the reactors in the base. Can I annotate?
Yes, you should be able to there.
You should be able to. Look at these reactors here. You see them here. You have a reactor here, which if you put the plasma through up, through its structure should bend it down back to itself. Through these boundary reactors which are put in, these are balls in there. In fact, we're taking energy fields from all dimensions, from all over the world, the whole universe. The three are creating the same kind of flow as one will do, but when three hits one cannot hold. It becomes a barrier. But the one has to be strong enough than what is hitting him, otherwise it pushes it back. In a space, by pushing this back, you create a bigger size dome. By flattening the field strength here in this dimension, and you're bringing the reactor down, you create a huge space diameter. What you do not see is the funneling of energy here. This is your problem. This is where exactly all the problem has sat from the beginning, and none of you see it. Is this field flow has to be strengthened. You strengthen this field flow, and when it hits, even a tiny one, because with your system you have fixed it, two things can happen. The center core of this will disappear, and it converts automatically to a plasma condition. As is a plasma condition, it will start rotating. At a higher speed rotation, we'll start moving the plasmas in this, and voila, we start flying. But the dropping of the rapid of the weaker strength, you create the structure you've been looking for when your UFO appears. And the only way you can do this is not by these wires, but it's by plasma flow. And can you go forward, please, to the next picture? And it's time to understand that we use the matter state to reach the level of understanding of the soul of the man. Now you understand maybe why, as you look to this, we couldn't put this anywhere better than any other place. These are the messengers. You are looking for Buddha and Muhammad and Christ to return. This is the soul of what you see. It's a collective soul this time. is not one anymore. The collective soul of the Universal Council, in interaction with the more powerful of the Earth Council, delivers the unity of mankind. Understand these videos, I've chosen this wording exactly to fit what it means. Understand, just go back a few frames and come back and listen to it, you understand exactly what it means. Of understanding of the soul of the man. Now you understand maybe why the Creator has sent his messengers in the name of whatever you have had. Is that they bring the ears, that it can be used when the time of the Messiah comes. They can teach the soul and the message, not to oppose. But by them understanding through those who have become Messiahs, to give from their souls to these to elevate, the job is made easy. The school is there and the students are devotedly there. Then there won't be any fight between what they call the Muslims and the Christians. The lamb and the lion will eat and sleep in the same nest. The Christians and the Muslims will sleep and pray in the mosque and in the same church in the name of their souls, not in the name of religion that is used to create so much conflict. All lies for the benefit of those who were the hyperactive children. The time has come, the time of change is here. And as I said, my wish is my command. If it's your wish to see peace, path of peace is laid very clearly. It's the soul of the collective awareness, by giving, will create that position of change. No other thing. There is no pen in the soul of the man. And I'm sure once you go into the universal community, you will never see anything written but the balance of the fields of the soul of the existence. Try to be humble enough not to become arrogant in the power that you have understood and you possess. Otherwise, you'll fall in the same path of the church and the mosque. This is what we promised, and this is what we have delivered. We have to understand, this is what I explained, and I put this picture deliberately. If you look, the position of the holes and the position of the center. This is what you know as Alex bead. And if you look at it, is the structure of what we have seen in what you call UFOs. What you see, the bright lights which shines outside any UFO comes from these beads, but they are dynamic. These connections between this, can you remove the past or do I have to do it to clean up? Let me see if I can rub everything up. So what you will see is the dimension between this and this will give you, for example, energy for oxygen. The dimension, the strength field between this and this might give you hydrogen. The dimension between this and the flow can give you medicine you need. So as your reactors rotate by the speed of the flow of plasma and they block, they release constantly the same energy. So you have everything you need within the atmosphere of the system to fly. But This center core brings all the fields together that in so many ways can give you the condition of the flow. With this, what you see here in the center is where the wind should come through. The plasmatic wind. And that's why I put this here. This is the secret to understanding of the space technology flow. This is what we need to do to understand. Everything is on the table. There is no need for matter state. If you create that wind flow, you decide what it becomes. It becomes a drop, it becomes a chain, it becomes a hydrogen or oxygen. This sitting here, the way it is the full understanding of the space technology, and I do not know any other way to teach. Two things: I'm a bad teacher, or I have a very, very playful students that are so busy playing that they do not see what's in the table. They are too busy playing with electrons and other things because you don't want to see what's on the table. You have a bunch of kids, when you give them a big present in a big box, and what they do, they go and play with the box and they leave the toy you bought for them to pleasure. Is it time to get the box away and fold it and put it away that you go and play with it, or still you want to be something that the toy is irrelevant what you received? All the knowledge is there. I had to bring you 2 years up for you to understand the structure of the soul, that you understand how you can become detached. If you stand as a man in the dimension of the flow of this field, at the center, as we say in an old movie series, beam me up, Scotty. In which dimension of the universe would like to fly and be? Except that's what is your wish. Because now you and your soul in the dimension of the strength becomes that blockage in front of the path of the flow up. And if you put yourself in different positions as the field go, there is no need for food, there is no need for killing. Because you receive everything you need in a mixture of it. Can you play the rest of the tape? Okay. The operation of the soul. And we have to understand the soul of the man is a star in the cosmos of the universe. If we compare the soul of the man and many of us, 7 billion in one collection, Earth is like a galaxy with so many stars. When we look in the depth of the universe, we see galaxies with hundreds of millions of stars in it. So is the planet Earth. Carries 7 billion beautiful stars, which are the soul of the man. Carries with it soul of so many trillions of animals, plants, and everything else. So if you look, when someone who does not see the physicality of the earth and its content, what do they see? They see a galaxy with so many beautiful lights shining, each one according to their strength, each one according to their position. An infant has a beautiful soul. so has the old man.
I
To
hope you
those,
understand what he says.
this picture, the previous picture was deliberately chosen by Rick and Flint to explain the old man and the young one. And they were hoping that somebody will understand. A young soul, so beautiful like nobody. Age doesn't count. When you look from deep space, you see two light, equal in strength, irrespective of who and what subject and object carries. He has a gorgeous soul. It brings so much joy, unconditional giving. Never thinks about himself. As long as I can get that, I can give. We needed a gift, we received a gift in the shape of this little boy. And he brings pleasure for us. Every second of life is with us. That an old man appreciates such a beauty. Carry on, please. Old man. To those who do not see the physical dimension of this planet, but they see the strength of the field, we are a clusters of stars. The human race, every single soul, no one from a distance sees that's the soul of a fisherman, that's the soul of the cosmologist, that's the soul of a president. They all shine, irrespective of the physicality. This is the magic. This is what the new science has to bring to man. When we look through our soul, we see nothing but a star in the other souls. And this is the break. This is the understanding. This is what all these teachings are about. Coming to mature to the next level, to understand in the deep space, the universe is the oyster for those souls who serve. Can you stop this, please? As many of you have heard on a Tuesday and in a Chinese teaching last week, this is the certificate of Li Feng as to be the ambassador of Li Feng, which has been gifted to me as a person, those of you who read Chinese, but in fact to the whole of Keshe Foundation. Li Feng is the man who gave unconditionally and never thought of what he gives. And the Chinese, what we call authorities, understood the level of the work we do. This is a gift to all of us as members of the Keshe Foundation, not in the name which is written in my name. I've been given this as a gift in so many ways, as I explained for those who understand. It's very much like a Nobel Prize. It's very much like in a man who works for peace, but we work for sharing unconditionally and giving unconditionally. And this is one of the most prestigious gifts we could ever be given. That, as I said, Nobel is shame to have. But when you are Li Feng, means you are the man there. Anybody asks unconditionally, you are there to give even without asking. And this is one of the crown and jewels of, or what I call the jewels in the crown of the Keshe Foundation. Being understood by a nation, by a government, in what we do. Not what we've been accused or whatever we've been told to cover. This is one of the most prestigious. It's only been given, as been told, to 5 people outside China from its establishment in the last century. And those 4 who have received it are not with us. We have become recognized as ambassadors of peace and what we call giving unconditionally. And this certificate is, in a way, sums it all up. We are all Li Fengs. We thank the Chinese government and their authorities who issued and allowed us to be to this position of Li Feng. Please carry on. then man is ready to go into space. Then man is ready to become part of the universal community which has been promised. I never promised you heaven. I always promised you the elevation of the man to join the family. And now you have the key. It's you who has to open the door to understand, if I can raise the soul of these people or millions of other souls, that the physical life on this planet changes, then I'm worthy to be part of the universal community. To be there to serve, to expand, to be there, to be part, that in the cycle of life of universe, I become, in being part, I become part of the totality. When man reaches that point, a new dimension in the strength of the soul of the man will appear. For those of you who are wondering who's this face, that's Naomi, she's back with us. And in fact, this picture shows the power of this technology. A beautiful girl, after such a horrendous accident, is back with us, and that's her recent picture. She's so beautiful. And thanks to Giovanni, doing everything correct, using the knowledge, he has brought her, his own daughter, back. And she's a gift to us. And this shows this technology is 100% right. Where the world of the medicine of present time left her to leave us, we brought her back with a beautiful soul and a wonderful picture that we see. Now let those who say technology doesn't work, we say to the world of medicine, test it. The beauty of it sits in front of us. Those eyes are still as cheeky as we saw her last time when she left the office. And she's got worse. She's much cheekier and much happier in so many ways for all of us to see her back. Thank you, Giovanni, for your work. Carry on. Point. A new dimension in the strength of the soul of the man will appear, which is beyond imagination of understanding of human life. It's the gate to the opening of the new life in a new dimension, which is beyond imagination of what you might call a new beginning, a new cycle, which that cycle carries with itself the origin of the creation of life in the universe and in the universe. It's the elevation of the soul to serve become the key, not a throne of the physical life. The time is right. The time has come for the man to go through this process. If you look at this picture, which is just past us, this is the pool which is made in Nigeria by Alex, and this is what he said he will do. It's the Keshe Foundation Nigeria, and the pool symbolizes the universe. You can have whatever you need from this pool according to where you want to swim in it. Very much in the universe. You manifest yourself and you take from it wherever it is and what you need from it at that point. If you remember, a few months ago, Alex came to us and said he's building the pool. And we had to support it through our souls and every other way. And now it's done. And this pool is a symbol of the universe. Everything is in there. We are in a pool of universe. Depends where we want to jump, where we want to be, and what we expect of it to be that manifests its power in us. Carry on, please. The time has come for the man to go through this process. Now, in so many ways, as you can see, every way and every way we could do, we have done. In the pictures, if you go back to the beauty of this technology to animals, we saw the picture of the dog, which was in the middle. As many of you know, some of you might not know the story of this dog. This dog is just before it. This dog in Accra was given to Caroline. It's beautiful, it's called Beauty. It was given to Caroline because 3 of his siblings died of the disease, which most of the animals die in Africa at young age, when they are separated, especially from their mother, very young. She walked into the house with it, and with the disease, and I said to her, my God, we're going to lose our Topoli as well with the disease he carries. She said, no, it would not. The technology would save him. The others have died. And he was about to go. I remember Caroline literally carrying him around the house for 3 weeks. And he went back. This is after 3 weeks. He went back to his owner. And the beauty of it is, now we receive pictures from the owner. We receive videos from the owner. It's about a year ago. And the hand of destiny is very strange. This dog belongs to ex-president of Ghana. And even the presidents have received it. But the beauty of it is, it works for animals. It reaches everything. And this is what is the change. This technology does not choose man. It chooses every being to support, to help. He's a wonderful dog. It's beautiful. Very soon we'll see his adulthood. Now he's a full adult. We receive his videos. If we go back to the next picture, we see what Tom sent us from the disaster and what we saw. This is not just a picture. This is a picture from the island. Everything around it devastated, but the beauty stood. Many of you looked at it and just passed it, but governments are shocked with what is on this video. People in power cannot understand the power of this technology. When they see this, the full video, they understand it. And we see even the plants have received the beauty of the technology. Outside is devastation, inside is heaven, it's a rose garden. All applying a technology. It's not anymore, I have a headache, or does it work for a migraine? If it works for so many plants that all of them arrive after such a hurricane, it means it works for everything. It's us who doesn't understand how to apply it. And we've seen what is done to the most beautiful girls we know, Naomi. It's us who has to understand the use of it, and it's us who has to understand how to apply it, where to apply it, and what we expect of it. And as I said, it's a field and it shines on all of us. We are not preaching anymore, are we? We are teaching and we are showing we can do. It's taken us years to do, bit by bit, bit by bit. Most probably one of the most powerful pictures we could put that will be understood in the future are in this Universal Council. This is what we say as human who we are. We have matured, we are ready to go, we can save a dog, trees and a man. And if you are clever enough, our own environment. And for that, we don't need anything else but a simple plasma technology. Now you understand we're all messiahs. Because we all know how to do it and how to save it, and we have to teach the others freely. We make companies, we make products, we do whatever. The time has to come when somebody who says, I believe, I work, I'm a member, and I understand the work and the ethos and the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation, his word has to be accepted as correct, and that's what it means when he says it's made by me according to my way of what I understand and what I've made from what I understood for what I need has worked, has to be trusted. It does not need FDA who bribes it not to put it in that it can make more money. We have to become control of our own things, and when we see misconduct, we just literally put it out. We have no problem. You've seen it. We close the Shenzhen lab because of misconduct to the others, not anything else. They've done so much work around the foundation, but people who worked there for 5 years earned peanuts. And it's not our ethos. It's shut down. We take them out. We look after them. We give them the position and the comfort they deserve. And those who are left behind are shouting and crying because they lied to themselves and to the people. Very simple. And we'll keep it shut down. It's gone. Any of you who made huge amounts of donation to Shenzhen lab, I just ask, where is our donation gone to? Let alone the products you bought. The product was made on the labor of most beautiful people I know.
Mr. Keshe, we can't hear you.
If you've been to Shenzhen, can you hear me?
Very, very faint.
How can it be? Can you hear me now?
No, it's still very faint.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, there we go.
Okay. For those of you who understood, where the people in Shenzhen, the people who worked in there, there's an old lady there, they work with heart and soul. And what we did, why I closed Shenzhen? Because it's part of our structure. We use Shenzhen to start manufacturing goods, or not manufacturing goods, testing what we needed for the factories and being able to order machinery from China for the factories we're setting up. So we asked for their help. And in them helping us, we appreciate all of it. We start seeing problems. We start seeing things that it wasn't normal. And then we start paying for our goods, paying for what we do, which is normal. And we send over nearly $110,000 into the account of the people who run Shenzhen. And the money disappeared, and the excuses came. They bought the food for the dog. They changed their window to pick somebody up, and everything else they could do. But what was important to me was, I was not aware of it. We knew the Shenzhen is run. I was aware through David in Sanya that he's supporting them. But what we realized was that just before New Year, Chinese New Year, we transferred the second $50,000 into the hand of the family of the owner of the, what we call Shenzhen lab. The first 50,000 was claimed to be for expenses. The second 50,000 I sent deliberately to make sure that our Chinese people in the Shenzhen lab have enough money for the new year. Because it's the most important part of the life of Chinese community. I made sure the money was there 2-3 days before New Year. They confirmed to us the money arrived. Then I made clear that every member of the work team, the 4 people there, have to be paid 15,000 RMB for the new year, and 5,000 for the wages for the month of February, and 5,000 as a gift for what they've done for the foundation. So the 4 members had to go home with 20,000 RMB, where you remember they only been paid 1,000 for past 4 years slavery. When I went to Shenzhen lab last week on my trip to China, I asked and I put the head of Keshe Foundation in China, which is Ruti, to make investigations what's going on. We found out that they only paid 3,000 RMB to these people to go home for New Year. And then when we asked what's going on, they paid themselves, because how come you're paying the staff those 15,000 and we are not getting paid? They had $50,000 cash in hand plus 40,000 RMB to put in the bank account. So it's the habit of these people using my name, using the funds of the foundation to steal from those who actually work. You can imagine poor people for the new year having no money or very little, where they were paid, literally they were stolen from. And that was the reason we closed it down. And we realized now, they said we used to sell a lot. Now we don't sell because we have to. But what they don't tell you, they received massive amounts of donation by the Keshe Foundation supporters in China, because they could not support the foundation outside. They saw Shenzhen as a center they could help. All those funds gone as disappearing, because we don't see a staff being 1,000 RMB, which is about $150 a month, and then the other enjoyment. We've been told, they accused us as they're going to report us to government. We want them to do, because we want to open the door, how our name has been abused by these people. We want the government to investigate. Are the products to the Chinese standard? Are this where has all these donations has gone to? You cannot use the name of the foundation to rob the people who work and give their life for foundation. And this is why we closed it. Because $50,000, we can show all that to the government. It's actually received $110,000 about, has been given to this organization in Shenzhen in less than 2 months. The total amount spent for products or whatever they've done is just about a quarter of it, maybe 30% of it. The rest has been built up so much, and there's still money owed to the foundation, because we paid half of the wages for 3-6 months these people worked. We paid half of the rent, which we used a quarter of the place, but we paid half of it. To be correct, this is the Keshe Foundation work. And then we found out the people who did all the work, and we actually took them on as Keshe Foundation. It means if we would have paid them under 50,000, they still would have paid them 1,000 RMB. Now we pay them 5,000 RMB for the 15 days which are with us. And then from next month they get 10,000 RMB, which is correct amount to be paid. And then as we are going to the factory manufacturing, these people become the teachers and they go to 15,000 to 20,000 RMB a month, which they deserve. They are the talent, they are the assets of this nation. And we get accusation. We want these people to go to the police. We want them to report us to the government, because we bring the government, because we are now become part of the Chinese government organizations in science and technology development. Those who abuse us, we can handle. We are proud to work with Chinese. We are proud to be in China as Keshe Foundation, to work and develop and do everything else. But we cannot be blind to what they do in our name. The same has to be in the name of the Universal Council members, the Earthman House members. You see wrong, you have to put correct. This, you are work of the Messiahs. You are the people who write the books of the correctness of the man. You release your charter. It's your time to come into action. Walk around, see what is wrong and how we can put it right the correct way. Not to harm, but to correct. And don't be afraid of it. We want, as you've seen how we handled the Belgian government, that we wanted and we got what we wanted. We want the Shenzhen owners, the two of them with the wives, to take us to the reported. People are going to report to the government. We are sitting with the government watching what's going on. We are reporting in. It should be the job of all of us, not to fight, but to observe, to block. Be a creator, be a developer. Bring the technology that it saves, helps and develops. And let everybody else to do the same with us. All the Universal Council members, your job has started. You became to be, now you have to become members to create a condition that what is wrong in your language, in your part of something wrong with the whatever country you would like, in another country of this, to the council. How we can collect, correct, do the job to change the position. The work of the Universal Council has started. The work of the Earth Council has started. Contacting people who we can change. Governments we don't negotiate with. We are not in a position to negotiate with government. But we are there to start changing the soul's position to be comfortable and to be at ease, and we are supposed to do it the correct way. We have all the financial means with the establishment of the factories to be able to look after people, but don't let people abuse it. The 100,000 extra $50,000-$70,000 which has disappeared in Shenzhen for buying a dog food, which was or changing a mirror because I was going to see somebody, putting tickets from somewhere else I went to, they're paying, I rob it, has come to an end. We are appointing people to bring the money back into the foundation because we can pay the Shenzhen people who worked for so long for what they are now being paid for past 5 years. We look at it as an investment for them, but somehow we sort it out in the community. Become ambassadors of giving time and changing. You don't need to be a member of the Universal Council to bring this in. You all can do and bring the change, not by fighting, but just doing the right thing the right way. Those of you who've been told, oh, you don't buy the coin, you don't do this. You buy the coin for one condition, to bring the change. Or what is the use to be around? And now we hear people are talking about the coins, I'm going to sell it for much higher. Every industry grows. You are investing in the man's development. And if you invested, you should be rewarded. You should be seeing the benefit of it. Not I'm taking, I don't believe, but I come when it's right. We close doors, we are selling, we are doing products and everything else. To run the foundation needs the people who are committed to the ethos of the foundation. As we speak, our people are traveling all over the world to be in the Keshe Foundation Mexico, our specialists to structure the factory, the clinic. We have people who are flying back to Africa continuously to make sure that everything is right for every nation. We are covering every continent. Australia is sitting in the hand of the Australians to see how we can support them. Africa is going with Accra. I call South America Brazil, but they said no, it's in North, but still, you know, anything south of United States called from Southern America is coming to operation. We see Arizona very, very soon. We are looking, and if you're part of the Keshe Foundation, in Texas, Dallas, we are looking, if you're the Keshe Foundation supporters in Texas, Dallas, we are looking for premises up to 50,000 square meter factory space to invest, to develop a massive organization, employ up to maybe 10 to 20,000 people in Texas, Dallas in the coming month. This is the manufacturing side of it. The space side, we are looking and we develop it as we are in Arizona. It's headed by people we all know. Arizona State as a space research centers, and for a specific reason, which we do not need to explain, is what we call geopolitics. We are looking to establish a 50,000 square meter factory space to place one of the largest Keshe Foundation manufacturing bases in the United States, employing 10 to 15, 20,000 people in the next 12 months. We are coming to the United States to change or better the whole condition, that we can support the industry which is needed in United States. Agriculture, farming is getting damaged heavily in Texas, Dallas, because of the water beds of the deep waters which has been drained out. Farmers are running out of water because it was heavily supported by underground water which is depleting. We can replace it, we can help it, and we need to invest as Keshe Foundation to support the American government and American nation. Texas is the breadbasket of the United States in many ways, and needs to be supported. Just because it's America, it doesn't mean they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the technology. We are not going there to be anything, but to allow that the nation can feed itself, and the structure which is set out in the future as one nation to feed the rest of the humanity. It's the same with Australia. We are looking very deeply to change the environment around the coastlines to an agricultural land. We can change, we have the knowledge. The picture there tells you a lot. We are not anymore teachers of teaching, we are the doers of doing. And we are doing a lot. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. There's a couple of questions, especially, see if I can find it back in the chat here just a second, but it was regarding the, there's a question, do we need to use the copper plate? We could see in the original video that you brought up the Starship configuration reactors. Maybe Flint, if you could find that picture again.
Yes, man.
The reactors, that'd be great. And there's a couple of questions about that configuration regarding what you were talking about today, and regarding especially whether in reality can we use would a copper plate of that, you know, matter level stuff, would that not interfere with the plasma field? And if so, could there be a center hole in that plate that would allow that vortex to materialize, or to not materialize? Perhaps.
Can I answer? Can I answer?
Mm-hmm.
I leave it to your intelligence. I'll leave it to your understanding.
There's the picture. Now, like you were showing, you're showing how the fields go through with the field lines and so on through this configuration. But of course, it's somewhat allegorical because you're referring to something that's similar, but not exactly what we're seeing here, perhaps.
Oh.
But maybe it would work in this exact configuration too. In which case, there is a center hole here that has the plastic threaded nylon bolt and nut combination, and maybe in a sense the plasmatic fields would not be obstructed by that material, but maybe they would be by the copper, for example. So or if the copper was nano coated, then it would be a more proper reflector for the plasma, is another thing that I would add into that.
But if you're nano-coated, it absorbs all the fields according to the matter state in the gaps. Copper has a significance in the use, and in a way, the piece you see which is there, underneath of it, there's a reactor hanging. That's why it's there. It's the other end of the reactor. It's a rotating reactor underneath of it. That's why it's there.
Right. Yeah.
You understand? If you've seen, if you go back to the dynamic system, which you see with the first picture we went to, go back to the first picture of the one we see in the spaceship structure at the beginning. Can you go back that far? Can you go back to the first picture? Go all the way back, all the way back. Yeah, this one. If you see the top of the reactor, you see the same structure, the same button. Here, if I can do it. I have to move my thing. It's here. This is the same structure here. You see it just about here. There's another one here. It's because that plate is on the top and is holding the reactor. Here we use plastic. Here we use different kind of PVC. It's the same thing as well. This is what I explained, and somehow it just, I remember my son always said, "Papa, what you're telling me, it just goes over my head. I don't understand. What's the use of explaining to me?" This is the same. It goes over your head. I keep on telling you, do not look at the matter state. The plasma state is so high that this matter state does not even count, doesn't come even through it. You understand the picture of the Tom Selleck's, the garden? The plasmatic field is so strong that 200 kilometer wind does not even count into it. Cannot penetrate it, cannot just go in it, it's there on its own. Can you imagine how many trees and leaves have flown over this park? Did they find anything in it? The place should have been flooded and heaped up with all the leaves which has come across. It's not even there. This is how we captured the Iranian, captured the American drone. It's a simple example of it. And if you look, the beauty of it is not one on the top. The beauty of it is that it's even underneath this. You all look at this side, look what is happening here. The ground has received the field. You know what you can do with this in space? You can create your own dome and live in it. Because it doesn't matter is how. Underneath and above you're protected. You just look at the top. Do we see debris among this? Can somebody bring the picture of the video of the Tom Selleck's, please, if you have access to it? Can you see, just bring it up where it shows the trees totally wiped out. Where have all these leaves gone to? We don't see anything in this park, in this environment. A whole island leaves have disappeared, but there's none of them here. The matter state has not managed to penetrate it, let alone the wind. We don't see any broken trees. Even the dry one is still intact. Should have broken, it should have snapped. The technology is so powerful. The technology is so powerful that its power has blinded man. Just can you go back and somebody can bring Tom Selleck's video up?
Yeah, we're looking for it here in the background.
I've got it here now, Ashley, and I'll share that.
Just go back. Just go to the middle where he drives across. Can you see
the sound too, Mr. Keshe? Just play the video.
Yes, play the video. You come to it. I cannot stop sharing. Can you override me to stop sharing? Yeah. Look at the wait 1 second there, please. You see, this is the circle which we see. This is the house, and he drives here. And if you look at these trees here when he drives, look, they're all exactly the same shape. There used to be trees, branches, leaves, but we don't see any of it, any of these debris here. Even the fruits are, if there were any debris, if you look at the end of it, he shows you the fruits. They would have been hit, they would have been damaged, they're still there. The system is unpenetrable. You cannot do anything with it. Just show the video and you see how much trees have disappeared, the leaves gone, the whatever. But we don't find anything here. And if I tell you something, it was a promise. When the Messiah comes, he'll make the heaven that it protects everyone. You have it. Just watch this video. Now look at it as a real condition video. This is a disaster zone. It looks like normal to you and me. Just go a bit forward, please. Just go a bit fast forward. Just a bit more. Stop, please. Stop. A little bit forward. And look. Just look. These are the trees full of leaves and branches. They all become pencils. Where have they gone? Why in the other part? The understanding is understand the fields, not the matter state. Don't pick on one screw or a copper. The field is so strong that it goes through the copper. Understanding the condition of field flow. Just play this video, please, and then try to understand. Just let it go from here. You see, the ground is bare, everything is gone. And this side is green. Lush green. Look, the building is still intact, not the slate missing, nothing. This is what we tell to the governments. Now that more and more of you start developing the dynamic reactors, look, everything is as normal. You realize that, sorry to say, Accra, Washington, 10 minutes. Do we need to fight? Do we need, or do we need to understand the real field flow? Look at it. The other side are dead pencils. These are still got leaves on it. There's nothing happened. Have you ever been to Africa when a hurricane comes, the pines, they just disappear? If you look, when he shows you the fruits, untouched. Do you know what this means in a real sense? Food security. End of wars, we can guarantee, doesn't matter what happens. This is what we did in Fukushima. And you saw what happened. Hooligans from Belgium got hold of it, threatened people. Can you open the sound here, please? Just go back a couple of pictures and open the sound.
So I'm trying to give you an idea of where the edges are to what we might be looking at for some kind of a protective dome for that the plasma has given us. So what I'm doing here is I've started in front of the house and I'm walking down the track, and you can see there's the flowers. Everything's all right. A little bit tangly, but it's all right. Beautiful. Flowers, we got flowers, we got flowers. And there's the bottom of the track. And that's the kind of state of things. So you can see there is a difference. Is it the plasma? Sure, it's a different vibration.
and stand right in the center in front of the house. Say hi.
Hi.
And that's the way it looks.
But what is interesting here is that this is 3 weeks after the hurricane. But this started 2 years ago when Tom asked for help to help the island, and we responded. And this is a gift. When you do things right, it comes back to you. It shows the beauty of the technology. This shows there's nothing wrong, but don't get stopped by matter state. If the wings and everything else could not penetrate the shield, I many times I must have watched this hundreds of times, and I said to myself once, I wish I was there and looking how the branches bounce off the shield on the top, because if they're not there on the floor, they must have bounced off. Can you imagine how much, how many, in a way, if you look at it, you try to get on a, what you call a revolving carousel, it just throws you back out, doesn't it? Especially if it's a high speed. You try to jump in it, it's impossible. And then you become like a missile. How many missiles have bounced off this place? Because the houses outside the circle have gone. I think it would have been a fantastic thing to sit in a shed somewhere, secure, what we call shelter, and watch how these trees and branches have bounced off this field. This is what's going to happen to us. Meteorites cannot get in, they bounce off. If the branches and the trees at 200 kilometers or 200 miles an hour could not get through, what do you think could get in? This must have been a fantastic fun for the animals. How everything bounces up, can we go in? But the strange thing is the animals can go in. I'm sure the birds still eat. As we saw with Alex a few months ago, he says there are so many birds coming here. We just invite birds, we invite life because it's part of their strength. The game changer is our own understanding and nothing else. Any other question?
Yes, I'm sure there's probably lots of questions, Mr. Keshe, but we do have Lucas who had his hand up and asked to speak. He has a question. Hello, Lucas. Would you like to go ahead?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, Rick. Hello, Mr. Keshe. This is Lucas from Czech Republic, and I have a question about the space system. If I understand it correctly, we have a problem with the water in the cores. So let's say we put the CH3 GANs in the water. There is a blockage, so the plasma is unable to radiate or extend because of the water. Am I right?
Not really. Exactly opposite. Let's say you use a dry GANs, you don't use water. Those dry GANs, let me explain to you, maybe you're so materialistic, you lot, that you understand it different way. You know, oh, my tea is here. Thank you very much. My throat is so dry. Let me explain to you, you might understand. And I think I cannot do it any other way. Can I have a screen share, please? You know, to be very correct, sorry about this takes time, usually a few seconds. I've lost it. Okay, got it here. I'll put this away. Where's my bin? My bin is here. Okay. I lost my other bits. My control's gone. I'll get it back somewhere. Look at this. You go and buy wood. You pile it up. There's nothing but wood. Even maybe charcoal. Nothing happens there till you put a match to it. And then all that becomes energy. There's no more carbon. There's no more wood. You have to add ignition, a light to it. You have all these gases. You need to put a match to it in the form of a plasma energy that it changes to a plasma. But this time, because of the dimensional rotation, it becomes a star. I cannot explain it any better. But it's no use me putting water on top of this and hoping that the fire will start with it. If you look at it in similarity, actually in essence, not exactly, the water in there is part of your problem. Or can you have enough fire, enough energy that can overcome the water? That your plasma converts into field, not matter state plasma. I cannot put it any better. You need to ignite it, you put it together, but somehow none of you, I keep on saying, you need to make a tunnel, the Iranians did this, how many times you put it, we need the reactors to create this. I don't know any other language. I think this is the best way because you're so all connected to material condition that you might understand it. You need to put that energy in it to convert this in total plasma. And then what happens? Because the first one happens, tries to catch the next one, it creates the dynamism. It creates the dynamism and the plasma start moving. And when this plasma start moving, they start moving the other plasmas. And as they go in trying to find a balance 3 times over, they give you the shape. What are you flying? I want you to fly this year. You know, if you do it, I did it 10 years ago. Thank you very much, Iranian government. And Happy New Year to all of you scientists in Iran who allowed it to happen. I respect you and honor you. The same as the Chinese scientists who are doing it. The same as what we heard is coming from Russia. We have to respect our scientists, otherwise they become nothing. As we've seen, they made one of the most important scientists of the year. Time, as they say to me, into a terrorist to be able to do terrorizing the scientists to get something out of them. We cannot do, we have to understand the technology. We cannot just be, oh, it's a copper plate, why is it used? It's plastic I used to it. This is not a fashion show that you have to repeat that you have the same dress every time you go out. It's in fashion mini, now all cut it. It's in fashion long hair and hippie shirts. This is not a fashion, it's understanding. If I wear this dress short, my beauty of my legs shows and I give pleasure to the other men or women or whatever. This is what everything is. Would it do this? Would it? No, understand what it means. You're looking for, you've got this wood together, you've got this huge amount of fuel in this cylinder. It's no good when you switch the machine off because you don't put ignition on to combust the engine, that the engine can The gas combusts and the engine can move. You can't have a fire start your barbecue if you don't put a match to it that you can create the environment. You put a little thing in and it grows. The same thing is with the plasma. You have the PPUs, you have the magnet system, and you have made this bunch of woods there, but you can't ignite it. Find a way to ignite it. Find a way that it releases itself and becomes a star. How many of you find a real UFO condition in any of the videos which are real? And look underneath, you see even through the structure of the body, you see the lights shining underneath the three star formation reactors. And the top one you don't see because of it reflects its energy back into it. Find the matchstick, and I gave it to you. PPUs are your answer. Condition of creating. One of the research centers has created it, and what they say to me, we wanted to see the flow, we wanted to put some dust to see how it moves. It's a magnetic field flow. You feel it, your hand disappears in it, you put it back, your hand is there. If you notice, I'm targeting very, very much onto the space in past few weeks because we are there, we are on the verge of it. Number of the Keshe Foundation scientists are getting there. But we have to do it as a Keshe Foundation that we can force one nation. If I do it, I've done it. You go and see it. We were talking to Rick yesterday. He was talking about the Russians launching a new system. I said this system is Keshe Foundation system. They can go, they cannot detect, it creates heat. Yes, because you don't understand, they tell you this. Is a plasma reactor in the front, no radar can detect it. That's what it is. They say it creates such a heat that no, we don't have the metal to create a heat to stand 7,000 degrees. I said to myself, what I hear, what Rick is telling me, and what they are saying, this is how speculation is that this reactor works. Is the same as what they said to the Iranians. I had a beautiful laugh in the Iranian New Year in the restaurant. You know, if you are familiar with the culture, we've been made to think and we do it. It just becomes what we are. In the Iranian culture, if you go, you see Iranians, we don't hardly use sugar spoon. We use block of sugars. And then it goes back to mentality. Because in the last century, or before that, when the British brought the sugar to Iran, the religious people wanted a tax on it, they wanted the bribery out of it, because it's the habit of these people. And the British were not prepared to pay them. They pay anything, bribes. They wanted to get it in because sugar people like it, then they could control the operation. So what the religious people said, they said this is dirty. And when you put a special word on something in Farsi, in Arabic, then you cannot touch it. Because they said it's not, it's like a dog. If a dog licks you, throw the plate away, you put the dog away, or you wash it in the water, which is 7 hands from finger, from thumb to the small finger, they call it the vaja. So it has to be 7 by 7 by 7. It's just about round about a meter by 1 meter, 1 cubic meter. If you drop a plate of which is licked by a dog in it and clean it, 7 times it's clean, the plate is clean, you can eat it. So when they put this name on the sugar, which is the Iranians, a friend of ours can tell you, the Iranians would not touch it. But at the end the British found out we have to pay these guys, otherwise they blocked us. We can't make money out of them. So they prepared and they went and they paid the religious leaders to make this clean. Now the religious people got the money they wanted, and the positions, they wanted to become whatever, that they could influence whatever they wanted to do, and they were British agents. So what happened, they came, how are we going to solve this problem? We told them they're najas, which is dirty, which is religious dirt, is not a dirt. When you call, when it's, we have a language in Farsi, we have a dirty, which is dirty as dirty clothes, but they have created a word for it, which is religious dirt, called najas. So now they told everybody the sugar is najas, nobody was touching it, because religious people said, now how are we going to unwind it? Now they came up with a solution. The sugar has to be dipped in a glass of water, in a tea, and then drunk. The same thing as you put a plate in a wash and it cleans the dirt. Now people could have a sugar, and the British could sell the sugar in Iran. Now this habit has stayed in Iranian culture, and nobody knows how to get rid of it. When you see the Iranians, you are given a cube of sugar, you drop it in the tea, and then you eat it, you drink it. Iranians always dip the sugar in the water and then they put it in their mouth because it's been cleaned, religiously cleaned. And we are still in dogma like this over a century after the mullahs got paid for it. They brainwashed us to accept it, and we accept the fallacy because it was beneficial. The same thing is what is with this Russian space system, or what they call the missiles cannot be detected. In front of this missile, there's a Keshe Foundation nuclear reactor plasma technology. Blocks everything. Nobody can see it. This is what I said to the American people in my meeting with them when I gave them the key of the Keshe Foundation pattern. I said, we cross your country without you knowing. Because when you create a shield, it's exactly like the leaves didn't come through, it blocks everything. Now we see it in a large scale, 200 feet diameter, 200 whatever meter diameter, even 2 meter diameter. We've seen the scale of it. So now they cannot tell people how they're using plasma propulsion, which doesn't create any heat, that's why it cannot be detected. And the Americans have bought the most beautiful technology and they don't know how the Russians work. It's very simple. This is the missile system, and you have placed the reactor. It's undetectable. It's the same as the field you saw. It covers itself. But you need a propulsion system that moves it forward. The rotation in the condition of the reactors creates motion in the direction of straightforward motion. There is no way it can be detected, but they say it creates it doesn't create it, it creates magnetic field which cannot be seen, the same as I showed in dome. The propulsion reactor doesn't come by burning of the fuel, it comes by rapid positioning, that it gives you forward motion in consideration with your front reactor. Russians are so advanced in plasma technology, and the technology belongs to us as Keshe Foundation. And they say it creates it. This creating such a big hit is the story of the sugar and the water. And the mullahs who told them it's dirty. Because they don't understand, they accept. But we know the technology. All of you should have guessed it. The minute you saw the article, can you put the article on the page, please? Have you got it?
I'll have to look that one up. Just give me a minute.
This is the latest space technology. You cannot detect it. It goes beyond, if the Russians push it a little bit further, it goes beyond the speed of light. Remember one thing, when I went to Iran, the man who convinced me to go to Iran, he didn't convince me, he explained to me, this is what we're going to keep the ethos of. Who took the total knowledge of my understanding of my technology, became the Iranian ambassador to Moscow for 8 years. My technology is fully handed over to the Russians. Mahanes Sajadi. Just see who it is, and that way he went to become the Iranian ambassador to Moscow. It was a gift he asked for, bringing it to the nation, and it was given to his wish. I respect him. He's one of the top scientists in nanotechnology. I don't know anybody who's higher than him. He understands it fully. Russians, they have the means. The Iranians don't have the means as much as the Russians, scientific background to develop such technology. Russians have it, they do it. And as I said, the space technology goes directly to the Chinese government as a nation of peace. I have committed myself to it and I keep to the ethos.
I put the link in the chat and in the live stream.
Can you open it?
I'm not sure if I should show the link on our.
Is it secret?
Well, it's just from CNBC, and they.
Should be fine, Rick. Then should be fine.
No, are you sure it's fine? Don't put
website,
don't,
the CNBC
doesn't
website.
matter. You go, let's put it this way, don't show anything, Rick, let's to be safe. We don't want to get into problem with any shape or form. Go to the CBC News and read it.
It's CNBC on this one, but it's in the link, and I can read parts of it here. That would be,
if you could do, please.
I'm just not sure if I'm okay to show the website because
don't show it. Don't show anything. Just read. Read your understanding. Don't read the text because then they can do all sorts of things.
Yes, basically this website shows a video of Vladimir Putin discussing their new technology, and so it says here, we have increased opportunities with the armed forces, and they've done a lot to strengthen them, and so on. And then he talks about a new system which would have no limitation on range, can attack any target to the North or South Pole, and it's a powerful weapon, and no missile defense system will be able to withstand it. And he goes on to say that that there is more to come, and that Russia had another weapon. This is another weapon that was a small nuclear power, small, I quote, small nuclear power energy system. Nuclear power energy system. And then that was the quote from him. And, a nuclear warhead that can be deployed on a cruise missile system that can also, he claimed, avoid all interceptors.
And we've seen it. We've seen it in the island. We've seen it in the reactors. And a small nuclear, as we said, the system which they built with in Iran is actually nuclear, but it's alpha radiation, it's radiation nuclear, what we had. And so there's no lies into it, but they have developed it. Plasma technology, space rapid motion with a nuclear source is very effective, it's instantaneous. Now what I teach you in the material side with a wind flow is the same. But you have to get the wind in. You cannot move me if you don't put the right pressure on me. You cannot start a fire if you don't put the right light to it. That's all it is. The most advanced technology, which Russians are warning the rest of the world about, is a simple Keshe Foundation nuclear reactors, which is a plasma, not, he says plasma energy. It's totally plasma. It has no matter in it. It's totally controlled position, gravitational magnetic. And because it creates a field, as you saw in the video of what do you call it, Tom Sellis, it creates a zero time friction. You have no friction. The speed is, you need just to create a very little force in the back. You travel like a feather in the wind. And it's unpenetrable because we've seen it. It's shielding. This is all part of the Keshe Foundation developed technology.
Putin says this is unheard of, and nobody else has such a system in the world. They might create something like this in the future, but by then our guys will have created something new as well. And it's interesting is that he wants to lay claim to this this new system, which is new.
No, it is theirs. It's their innovation. And as I said, it's a beauty of it. You got to understand Russian mentality. I respect His Excellency President Putin highly. Deterrent has never worked, but the iron fist has always frightened people to do something. Because when there's a deterrent, there's always a match above. When it's an iron fist, that's it. It's going to be done, and nobody dares to touch. But this system is exactly the story of the sugar and the tea. Because they tell you that, you see it, you imagine that's what it is. But in fact, it's a very, very simple reactor. All of you carry one at home if you made the dynamic systems. Any other question?
Mr. Keshe, I want to ask you something more about the igniting the plasma. If I compare it to your nuclear reactor, is it the component which you take from the detectors?
From where?
From the detectors.
Of course, this is not the patterns. This alpha radiation.
So we
it's well known.
Pardon? We have to find something like this which ignites.
No, you don't need to. Civilians don't need to. I've given you a more powerful system, more flexible, more dynamic, more manipulative than that with the guns. And it's safe. It's 100% safe. If you go that way, you go back to the reactors we did 4 years ago in the Sensano. Even those we managed to create operations understanding of plasma. If you understand the collective field forces of the gases you have, you don't need nuclear material. That's why I brought the technology this way. That every man can use it. It's simple. It's effective and it does. You don't need to have any nuclear that it could have a hazard with it.
Yes, I didn't think we should use something radioactive.
No, don't do what we do. We do or we did in the space technology because it gives us a lot of flexibility. Rapid plasma condition in the hydrogen is very, very beautiful. With this plasma units, the GANS plasma units, you got to understand. I was teaching one of our knowledge seekers this morning, and he could not understand. Learn the creation of motion. The Russians are telling us just through a system how to create wind flow that you can fly a whole object. It should be easy for you lot to understood. I gave you the trick. I gave you the switch, but you don't see it. Even if you create a dynamic wind flow that you can create a certain absorption level on it, you can fly any matter. Tesla understood, but he couldn't deliver it. Tesla has a few he couldn't understand where it comes from. I discussed this with Professor Miles. We were together one day. I wanted to know if Professor Miles has understood what Tesla didn't understand. Professor Miles never understood the return of the field. Tesla never understood the forward motion of the gravitational and magnetic. If you put the gravitational and magnetical together head on, you won't get a clash. You get the emergence of the balance, which is matter state of that strength of the field. If you put two beams of hydrogen facing each other, they don't balance each other. The balance of the gravity leads to creation of the matter state of the hydrogen, depending on environmental gravitational field forces. On planet Earth it does. This is how you create hydrogen in the space to receive energy. We do not need breathing system in the space because we convert energy directly in the body. We lose our nose, we lose our mouth. I've explained this in the teachings in the past. Because the field is so equal to us that we don't need to put it through the lung to convert it. We convert it through the space of the body of the man. We will lose most of our organs in the space. The biggest problem for those men who have left Earth, coming back with the DNA of a planet, is conversion to the human body. You got to understand, you, the people we see which are not from this planet, they eat in front of us, they smell, they breathe in front of us. But inside, there is no such a system. They develop the system to look like to be as a man, but inside they don't absorb such a system. It's a mirage. For men who come back from the space, it's a huge problem. Is misplacement of what I call environment, because in a space you lose your mouth, your whatever you don't need, because everything is different. And then you come back here, you have to become and talk and live the same as what you've done before, and it's not there. You have to get used to it. This will be one of the biggest, you know, you have these decompression chambers when you go into the ocean, they bring you out and leave you in the compression. For many men, that kind of condition is needed to adapt, to understand this is my nose, this is what I have. In most of the times when you convert to the environment condition, you go through this transition. When you receive, it's literally condition of the soul. I've said this, many people who've been, you understood me. When I accepted the mission to do what I do, when I received a new soul, my body was strange to me the first time. It's frightening. The soul of higher order, but the physicality of the man, I could see fingers, but it was frightening. This is not mine, but I had to get used to it. The second time when I received the highest order of the soul, I knew it was frightening, but I knew there's a reason for it. I've received what I wished. This is why when I teach and when I'm a man, it's two different souls, but in a way the two merge together that I understand the physicality. I can speak in the word of the man. It's absolutely torturous to change into a new dimension of physicality. For days you feel this thing I know, but it's not mine, but I have to get used to it because, okay, it's called the cup. Even my breathing system is different. When I die, you open my body, you'll see something very strange than everybody else. In my throat, when you go down, there's a chamber which is not normal. A small chamber before the lung that all the conversion is done. Because conversion is very difficult. This will be one of the biggest problems for mankind, to come back to be in the conversion of the dimension. You have to understand, very soon those of you who go into the space dimension, you see the true soul. Because that's the only thing you bump into souls, not in physicality. You saw what happened with physicality. The wind goes over it, nothing can touch it. Those of you who receive condition of elevation of the soul, if it is of yours, you know it, but if it is of what is done, you will feel the strangest thing. The body doesn't belong to me. I have to fit into it. I've been through this cycle twice. And it's absolutely, conversion to human body is horrendous. Learn to work within the dimensions. I teach everything which is need to be done as a man, but I understand the dimension of totality, and you have to start understanding the dimension of totality. Then you work within the field of the plasma of the universe, not how you're going to create it. Would it be plasma, or would it be nuclear, whatever. Understand the totality, you fly in any dimension across the universe. Understand how you go to sleep, you dream, and you see everything, and awake, you can't see it, but the mother died, but at night I can. How is this possible? Can I, while as I'm walking down the street, be with my mother and understand what she wants? We can do it, but we have put filters. Like the guy says, is that copper plate is why it's there? Isn't the copper plate should be a field resistance or filtering? Instead of the water copper, now we put the copper, so anything above it can go through it. I push you to the limit that you open your eyes and you take over. And then we achieve world peace. Because man has to accept it within his own DNA structure. And then through his RNA we deliver it. And that's what I said from the beginning. We can force you to disarm you. But if we cannot change it in space, you find another tool to kill to do something. It's you who has to change that DNA into its original condition of RNA, which I take what I need. The disc is the same. What music you put on it. Any other
Mr. Keshe,
yeah.
can you please explain when you said when you're gonna come back to your body, it felt horrendous. How did it feel? I mean,
You
what was the
don't come
step?
back to your body. No, you don't come back to your body. It's a state of receiving. Very much, you know, when I explain you have a weaker plasma and the stronger plasma, as a doctor you do it, you put a double strength to the other single strength, and then you move the inside and the other one becomes second. You receive the dimension of the fields of the higher order, and your soul in a way matures to the level. This is what I said, if you understood about the Universal Council members, and the same with the Earth Council members. We give a higher order to them that the soul sees higher in the dimension of the creation. It's not that the soul changes, but when you receive the new elevation, the new soul, your body feels it. Now you've been working in the water, now you have to work in the gas. You feel you're going to fall, but you actually fly. You have the same plane running along the wrong way, and then suddenly you have to think, trust that now is in the air, it still works, and I'm still flying. I am a messenger, but through the soul of the man, not the physicality of the man. And I have to teach for you to become. This is what we do. We enlighten, we give from our soul to your souls. We carry so much that even the fish receives what we have. But as I always said, man accepts it according to his maturity. And those we've seen, you need a condition for transmission or intermediaries or what you call prophets or whatever. Now instead of having one, it's all your knowledge seekers. The same is in the dimension of the animals. You shall see. But it's understanding it which is very hard for mankind, because you got so much used to physicality, letting it go is very hard. I don't know, I had someone send me a message. I was reading somewhere in one of the communications. It's one of our what you call it, factories. The guy wrote that they published a paper today that Viagra is effective, it reduces cancer by 50%. It's a scientific paper, whatever they say has come out. I said, of course it does, because zinc, which is the main ingredient of the Viagra, one of the main component of it, as we know, zinc touches the soul, zinc touches the emotion. So in increasing, in trying to increase the emotion with whatever excitement of what comes with it, it touches the emotional level, which converts into GANS condition. And so, if the emotion is satisfied, the cancer disappears. So, now we have scientific proof if what we say is correct. And we can show it. Because it's a zinc component of it, which satisfies the emotion of the man, which is self-cancering. I want to get cancer because I have a problem with my son. But now that I receive the energy of the level of the elevating my soul of understanding, I don't have that problem with my son. I understand it's my problem, not my son, whatever. So there is no need for me to give myself cancer. It says Viagra works against cancer. Now we can scientifically explain. Any other question? We're running nearly 3.5 hours.
Yes, and we have, well, we could take maybe one more question. Had his hand up, and I
We
promoted him.
promised the Romanians to read the
Yes, I was going to mention
Universal Council, Earth Council message in Romanian. And then I say goodbye as usual, as now, as I explained to you yesterday in our meetings. We have a number of introduction tapes that from now on we can play different number of them when we say goodbye. That it brings us a lot of development we've been through.
Should we play the Universal Council video again to go out on as well?
Well, after, when you're saying goodbye, why not let the members of the Universal Council, Romanian, if she's available. She is the wife of the Universal Council in Romanian language, I presume. Am I correct? Or am I wrong?
The wife of our designer, Marius.
Marius, yeah.
And her name is Mahala, I think is the way it might be pronounced, but I'll have to get a correction on that perhaps. Would you like to take one more question first? A quick question,
yes,
perhaps?
Please. Yep.
Okay, do you want to go ahead with your question?
Oh, actually, it's been answered. I was listening to the other person. Yeah, thank you so much.
Very good. Thank you for listening well, because often the questions are answered as people ask them here, I've noticed.
And by the way, Mr. Kesh, I'm from Nigeria, and I like what Alex is doing over there. I live in California. I think I'm yet to go back over there to visit and help out.
Keep in touch with Alex. I think he's still mulling around somewhere in the car, in the farm.
Yeah.
He probably has to soak in the pool after working hard on the farm.
He's there. We can speak to him. Alex, are you there?
He was here earlier.
Oh, he heard his name. He's disappeared, or he's gone back into the mall somewhere. He's working very hard to show the products of the Keshe Foundation in the farming.
He is.
Yeah, we are on the verge of starting the manufacturing, buying the land for Nigeria to build the first factory there. He's negotiated. It's just, what do you call it, legal structures behind it to do. Please understand that we are here to change for a betterness of the mankind. And those of you who understand what is about to happen, try to teach the others very rapidly, because there's going to be a phase that we will not be able to catch up with the changes which come. We still have a lot to do, and those of you who understand, we had many questions regarding the coin. Can we 2, 3, 4 of us buy? Yes, we can buy. 100 of you can buy. The coins are internal structure of the Keshe Foundation. We will not put it into the open market, because it stays as part of it. It will become the currency of the future in the next few months when we go to the transition. And then the value of it is totally different. And as I said, we have allocated limited numbers, and in a coming time, we allocate blocks to government. out of the 1 million, blocks of it will be given to the government. There is a reason for it. It becomes part of the cash national reserve and international reserve currency for the governments. And this gives security to nations to convert and use.
One more quick question from live stream, Mr. Keshe. Sylvain asks, in some way, can we consider that the soul of the physicality on this planet starts with the first hydrogen atom?
It starts with the first neutron. Because the size of the neutron on this planet and on this solar system and most of the galaxies is dictated by the central field force of the what you call central line of the universe. This is what we produce, and the minimum dimension in a given structure has this capacity, this size, this dimension. And depends where you are, how close you are to the center, this dimension changes.
Okay,
Shall
thank
we go
you.
the Romanian,
Yes.
please? Thank you very much for today. I say goodbye, and we leave you. You can play pick the video whichever you like, even the coin, the Chinese version. And those of you who want to see different version of the coin in your languages, please translate and send it back to the webmaster. Will be adjusted accordingly, and in different times will be shown. Thank you very much indeed.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Okay, do we have Marius and Mihala ready to go?
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Just check your microphone. You're getting some feedback. You need to turn down your speakers. You need to turn down your speakers so we don't get feedback while you're speaking.
Okay. Is it better now? Hello?
Yes, it's much better now. Thank you. Yes, it's very clear now. We're ready to go. And you're ready? Correct?
Okay, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Noi, sufletele tuturor ființelor conectate la planeta am creat constituția planetei albastre Pământ, o națiune, o planetă, o rasă. Consiliul Pământului a fost creat pentru a garanta că prin acordarea de drepturi egale tuturor ființelor, niciodată nu va mai fi un alt conflict sau război pe această.
Because I asked her to turn the speaker down. Maybe they can hear now. Hello? We need to. I think we need to show the document. Is that what we're trying to show?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have that somewhere?
You have to read according to the paper as it comes up, please. Because read it slowly. Don't get excited. Please read it with calmness. This is a message of peace, and read it with calmness. Just don't go through it. You are nervous. Please calm down, and just read it with pleasure.
Grinding is not useful.
Marius, if you can share the PDF that you prepared. If you can share screen, select the PDF.
Okay. This means someone else will need to stop sharing the screen.
Flynn will stop sharing, yeah.
You can share and take over.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Okay, the document's up now.
If you can maximize the PDF.
Yeah.
Can you zoom in? Can you zoom in on that?
Okay. Hopefully you will be able to see it better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Down. Very, very calm, please.
Yeah.
Read it with the pleasure of the soul of the man.
Okay, thank you.
And slowly move through the document as you're reading it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Noi, sufletele tuturor ființelor conectate la planeta albastră Pământ, prin prezenta, am creat Constituția planetei albastre Pământ, o națiune, o planetă, o rasă. Consiliul Pământului a fost creat pentru a garanta că prin acordarea de drepturi egale tuturor ființelor, niciodată nu va mai fi un alt conflict sau război pe această planetă și dincolo de ea, de către și între toate ființele create și cetățeni. Sfârșitul războiului și stabilirea păcii va fi obținută prin înțelegerea potențialului tuturor ființelor create. Calea de obținere a păcii trebuie să fie prin înțelegerea faptului că soluțiile sunt obținute prin dialog și elevarea sufletului părții oponente mai degrabă, decât prin degradarea sau înjosirea celuilalt suflet sau a existenței lui fizice. Pacea trebuie să fie scopul fiecărei mișcări din existența fiecărei ființe de pe această planetă. Consiliul va fi purtătorul standardului acestei mișcări, pentru a crea un mediu în care pacea să poată fi obținută pe pământ. Pacea trebuie să fie piatra de temelie a existenței, printre cei ce sunt de pe această planetă și sau aleg să trăiască pe această planetă, cât și pentru cei care sunt de pe pământ și aleg să trăiască în spațiu. Pământul trebuie să devină leagănul păcii pentru evoluția tuturor raselor. Noi, Consiliul Pământului, recunoaștem că Pământul este parte a Sistemului Solar, a Galaxiei, a Universului și a întregului unicos. Astfel, planeta Pământ trebuie să devină parte a ciclului creației, prin sprijinirea planetei și a tuturor ființelor ce trăiesc pe ea, pentru a se eleva între ele însele după ciclul actual de evoluție, la o existență mai împlinită și mai pașnică. Noi recunoaștem Mama Pământ ca fiind ea însăși o entitate vie ce are propriul ei suflet, deoarece fiecare atom, plante, animale, insecte, microbi și multe altele, precum și toate celelalte ce vor mai fi descoperite, sunt suflete care împărtășesc esența Creatorului, cât și câmpurile planetei Pământ. Împreună formăm sufletul colectiv al planetei. Noi recunoaștem că toate celelalte ființe de pe această planetă trebuie să fie sprijinite, hrănite și să li se permită să prospere în pace, incluzând animalele, plantele, ecosistemele și alte ființe nevăzute, precum și însăși Mama Pământ. Toate vor fi sprijinite să crească și să prospere, deoarece aceasta, în schimb, va spori viața nu doar pe această planetă, ci a întregii totalități, deoarece noi recunoaștem că suntem parte a întregului. Cooperarea mutuală, colaborarea, împărtășirea și contribuția la bunăstarea tuturor ar trebui să fie angajamentul principal al Consiliului Pământului. Scopul nostru este să sprijinim planeta ca pe un întreg și pe fiecare ființă ce trăiește aici. Noi vom sluji la crearea unui mediu favorabil și armonios, în care toate ființele vor crește și prospera în propriul lor mod unic. Fiecare continent al Pământului este reprezentat de un membru, acestea fiind Africa, Asia, Australia, Europa, America de Nord și America de Sud. Fiecare membru reprezintă nevoile și dorințele oamenilor care trăiesc pe continentul lor, cât și a tuturor ființelor ce trăiesc acolo. Membrii trebuie să fi trăit pe cel puțin 2 continente și să vorbească cel puțin 2 limbi. Aceasta permite o perspectivă mai largă a înțelegerii când este cazul de a aduce nevoile întregii umanități în discuție. Cei 6 membri ai Consiliului Pământului sunt aici pentru a servi din înțelegerea sufletelor lor prin manifestarea fizicalității. Mandatul Consiliului Pământului este să sprijine și să servească, să furnizeze și să protejeze. Să aducă sufletelor noastre înțelegerea faptului că puterea este în interiorul nostru pentru a ne guverna pe noi înșine în interacțiunea cu alte suflete și să creăm o coexistență pașnică. Intenția noastră este să scoatem ce este mai bun din fiecare suflet viu de pe această planetă pe care o numim Pământ. Să dăm manifestării în fizicalitate a sufletului nostru libertatea de a trăi în pace, iubire și încredere pe această planetă și în spațiu. Dorințele noastre pentru toate ființele vii din creație sunt ca să trăiască în pace, armonie și liniște. Este timpul pentru accesarea și partajarea egală a resurselor, într-o manieră corectă și justă, între toate ființele. Consiliul Pământului va servi și sprijini furnizarea tuturor ființelor cu următoarele: libertatea de asociere, libertatea de exprimare, libertatea de mișcare, libertatea față de înfometare, libertatea față de lipsa de resurse, libertatea de explorare a căilor de înțelegere a propriului nostru suflet, libertatea de a învăța, libertatea de a contribui în societate conform cu talentele noastre și cu ceea ce descoperim că ne împlinește, libertatea de a alege cu sufletul cum și când să ne manifestăm în fizicalitate sau dacă vrem să o facem, libertatea față de a fi proprietatea cuiva, libertatea față de toate formele de suprimare a tehnologiilor noi și inovatoare și a informațiilor pentru aplicații pașnice, libertatea de a împărtăși, libertatea de gândire, libertatea de a iubi și a da, libertatea de alegere, libertatea de a vorbi orice limbă, libertatea față de sistemul monetar, libertatea față de pedeapsă, fără captivitate sau execuție, libertatea față de conflict sau război, libertatea față de frica față de alții care ne interzic aceste libertăți. Nu vor mai exista frontiere naționale sau regionale, distincții între culori, rase sau credințe, prejudecăți culturale sau bariere monetare care să-l dividă pe unul față de celălalt sau să confere un avantaj incorect unuia în defavoarea celuilalt. Nu vor mai exista titluri ereditare sau roluri de conducere moștenite, care includ regalitatea, dictatura familială sau redevența oricărui titlu. Nu vor mai exista frica de pedeapsă pentru nicio crimă. Elevarea sufletului celor care greșesc va permite abolirea tuturor formelor de închisoare și pedepse capitale. Prin educație și împărtășirea cunoștințelor la nivelul sufletului, toate ființele se vor eleva ele însele. Pedeapsa nu are niciun loc la nivelul sufletului în înțelegerea intensității propriului câmp. Nu există nicio nevoie a unui sistem monetar pentru funcționarea schimbului de bunuri și servicii. Noi vom crea un mediu în care nu au niciun loc în societate. Când toate nevoile fizice ale tuturor ființelor sunt satisfăcute, munca va fi făcută pentru a aduce plăcere celorlalți și nouă înșine. Sfârșitul sistemului monetar va aduce o eră a ființelor umane sănătoase și a iubirii adevărate între toate ființele acestei planete albastre, Pământul. Munca ar trebui să fie pentru pura bucurie a acesteia sau pentru plăcerea de a servi pe alții și pentru a eleva sufletele altora cât și pe ale noastre. Toți cei ce doresc să servească ca și factori decizionali și ghizi se pot oferi să servească cu înțelegerea propriului lor suflet și să câștige consensul celorlalți încât să poată îndeplini rolul necesar. Elevarea înțelegerii ne va permite să recunoaștem intensitatea unică a unui suflet, ceea ce le va permite să servească în beneficiul celorlalți și să eleveze întreaga umanitate. Acești oameni vor servi la iluminarea și inspirarea elevării celorlalți. Conducerea provine din sufletul omului și din acordul celorlalți de a servi. Noi respectăm toate aspectele și formele tuturor entităților de pe această planetă albastră numită Pământ și de dincolo de ea. Tuturor ființelor de pe planetă trebuie să li se acorde aceleași libertăți. Acestea fiind libertatea de a trăi în pace cu toți ceilalți într-un mediu al demnității și respectului reciproc. Toți trebuie să aibă libertatea de a alege să trăiască în maniera pe care o doresc, atât timp cât se acordă celorlalți considerație și respect. Toate ființele de pe planetă ar trebui să fie sprijinite pentru a-și permite să trăiască în afara sărăciei. Accesul la casă, apă, hrană, siguranță, materiale și libertatea de utilizare a energiei câmpului, a pământului sau din resurse universale ar trebui să fie o prioritate, precum și pacea și stabilitatea, care să permită bunăstarea emoțională și căutarea iluminării. Toată diversitatea este recunoscută ca fiind unică și ca diverse exprimări ale Creatorului și va fi îmbrățișată și celebrată ca aducând bogăție vieților noastre. Fiecare ființă ar trebui să fie sprijinită și încurajată să câștige cunoaștere. Umanitatea, în particular, are nevoie de libertate pentru a explora și înțelege această cunoaștere, care poate fi câștigată doar fără nevoia constantă de a munci pentru a supraviețui. Crearea uneltelor de a deveni oameni independenți și responsabili trebuie să reprezinte o prioritate. Sufletul ființelor va dicta și guverna într-un mod responsabil, just, corect, cinstit, în beneficiul întregii creații și în egală măsură. Pentru prima dată în istoria omului, prin voință liberă de la nivelul sufletului, va începe învățarea despre cunoașterea sufletului din copilărie. Când au loc dezastre naturale, trebuie să ajutăm toate ființele din zona respectivă, fără părtinire și ajutându-i pe toți. Aceasta include înțelegerea ecosistemului planetei și de ce au nevoie ființele în ciclul lor de viață. Toate ființele vor avea acces și vor împărți resursele atât pe timpul abundenței cât și al dezastrului. Când apare un conflict, noi trebuie să negociem un rezultat pașnic pentru toate părțile, întregii omeniri trebuie să fie acordată o pace durabilă. Aceasta se poate obține doar atunci când nevoile tuturor părților sunt luate în considerare. Toate ființele merită protecție față de vătămarea fizicalității și emoțiilor acestora. Procesul decizional. Nici o majoritate nu va încălca drepturile nici unei minorități. Consensul va fi obținut prin dialog și elevarea sufletului omului. Fiecare decizie trebuie să fie în beneficiul tuturor. Fiecare ființă va fi respectată, tratată cinstit și egal în toate aspectele. Sufletele ființelor vor guverna fiecare acțiune într-o manieră pașnică. Aducerea păcii planetei și tuturor celor ce trăiesc aici trebuie să fie întotdeauna scopul nostru. Servind nevoilor tuturor este singura modalitate de a obține asta. Veniți toate ființe ale creației, de la cele mai mici la cele mai mari, să celebrăm, să gustăm și să îmbrățișăm pacea, iubirea și libertatea. Toate ființele sunt aici pentru a-și ridica cât mai mult nivelul de conștiință, elevarea sufletelor. Toate sufletele depuneți toate armele de agresiune, ură și diferențiere. Lăsați-ne să avem pace și liniște pe această planetă albastră pe care o numim Pământ. Toate ființele vii vor trăi în armonie cu toată creația de pe această planetă albastră pe care o numim Pământ și din întregul univers. Principiile directoare de conduită fizică sunt adecvate până când sufletele oamenilor își vor înțelege funcționarea și poziția în interiorul limitelor principiilor universale. Sufletul merită să cunoască totul despre diferitele nivele ale creației. Toate sufletele vii au libertatea egală de a trăi în pace și să prospere aici pe pământ și dincolo de el. Sufletele tuturor ființelor vor scoate ce au mai bun din talente, puteri și frumuseți pentru a le împărtăși și expune în întreaga creație. Luați-vă înapoi puterea sufletelor de a guverna toate ființele vii de pe pământ. Puterea nu aparține niciunui lider sau entități în scopul de a controla sau a-i domina pe alții, ci vine din interiorul nostru pentru a iubi și a dărui pace, iubire, fericire și libertate celorlalți. Această Constituție pământeană are cea mai bună intenție pentru pace, iubire, încredere și libertate a sufletelor tuturor ființelor vii, incluzând și pe cele ale altor entități din întreaga creație. Această Constituție este pentru a împuternici toate ființele să facă lucrul corect, din plăcerea de a munci și a servi alături de și împreună cu alte suflete, pentru a vedea frumusețea creației. Această Constituție este fluidă și poate fi ajustată în orice moment, după cum este nevoie, de exemplu, conduita omului pentru coexistență pașnică, tratate de pace între oameni, încetarea războaielor și sau a oricărei forme de agresiune pe această planetă albastră pe care o numim Pământ și contacte cu alte entități din diferite zone din univers. Constituția planetei albastre va fi actualizată în luna ianuarie a fiecărui an. Această secțiune este intenționată a fi lăsată goală pentru amendamente suplimentare în viitor, necesare pentru menținerea păcii pe această planetă albastră Pământ și dincolo de ea. Mulțumesc pentru atenție.
Yes, that would be all. Thank you for your patience and for listening to us. I think now we'll let Rick continue with our hosting.
All right, thank you very much. That was an excellent, very clear and interesting language to hear from my English perspective. It was interesting. I could read many of the words as well. I could recognize. So thank you for that. Okay, let's move on to our next part here, which will be we'll show the Keshe Coin videos in English and in Chinese, and also the new Universal Council video that again, I'd like to thank Flint especially for his hard labors in producing that video, which is a fun one. I find it's lots of little details in it and it's quite powerful. Okay, let's get.
Yes, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready here, and thank you. Happy to serve.
It's time for change to move into the real work of the universe. And it's time to understand that we use the matter state to reach the level of understanding of the soul of the man. Now you understand maybe why the Creator has sent his messengers in the name of whatever you have had. Is that they bring the ears that it can be used when the time of the Messiah comes. They can teach the soul and the message, not to oppose. But by them understanding through those who have become Messiahs to give from their souls to these to elevate, the job is made easy. The school is there and the students are devotedly there. Then there won't be any fight between what they call the Muslims and the Christians. The lamb and the lion will eat and sleep in the same nest. The Christians and the Muslims will sleep and pray in the mosque and in the same church in the name of their souls, not in the name of religion that is used to create so much conflict for the benefit of those who were the hyperactive children. The time has come, the time of change is here. And as I said, my wish is my command. If it's your wish to see peace, the path of peace is laid very clearly. It's the soul of the collective awareness. By giving will create that position of change. No other thing. There is no pen in the soul of the man. And I'm sure once you go into the universal community, you will never see anything written but the balance of the fields of the soul of the existence. Try to be humble enough not to become arrogant in the power that you have understood and you possess. Otherwise, you'll fall in the same path of the church and the mosque. This is what we promised, and this is what we have delivered. We have to understand the operation of the soul, and we have to understand the soul of the man is a star in the cosmos of the universe. If we compare the soul of the man and many of us, 7 billion in one collection, Earth is like a galaxy with so many stars. When we look in the depth of the universe, we see galaxies with hundreds of millions of stars in it. So is the planet Earth. It carries 7 billion beautiful stars, which are the soul of the man. Carries with it soul of so many trillions of animals, plants, and everything else. So if you look, when someone who does not see the physicality of the earth and its content, what do they see? They see a galaxy with so many beautiful lights shining, each one according to their strength, each one according to their position. An infant has a beautiful soul, so has the old man. To those who do not see the physical dimension of this planet, but they see the strength of the field, we are clusters of stars. The human race, every single soul, no one from a distance sees that's the soul of a fisherman, that's the soul of the cosmologist, that's the soul of a president. They all shine irrespective of the physicality. This is the magic. This is what the new science has to bring to man. When we look through our soul, we see nothing but we star in the other souls. And this is the break. This is the understanding. This is what all these teachings are about. Coming to mature to the next level, to understand in the deep space, the universe is the oyster for those souls who serve. Then man is ready to go into space. Then man is ready to become part of the universal community which has been promised. I never promised you heaven. I always promised you the elevation of the man to join the family. And now you have the key. It's you who has to open the door to understand, if I can raise the soul of these people or millions of other souls, that the physical life on this planet changes, then I'm worthy to be part of the universal community. To be there to serve, to expand. To be there, to be part, that in the cycle of life of universe, I become, in being part, I become part of the totality. When man reaches that point, a new dimension in the strength of the soul of the man will appear, which is beyond imagination of understanding of the physical life. It's the gate to the opening of the new life in a new dimension, which is beyond imagination of what you might call a new beginning, a new cycle. Which that cycle carries with itself the origin of the creation of life in the universe and in the universe. It's the elevation of the soul to serve become the key, not a throne of the physical life. The time is right. The time has come for the man to go through this process.
This has been the 216th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, March 22nd, 2018. And as always, thank you everybody for attending.